Good morning, guys. Good morning. Uh, yeah, sorry. I was trying to make sure the sound wasn't all the way turned up from yesterday when we were streaming certain parts of it. How you guys doing today? It is Thursday. We do have economic data coming out today. You can see the timer right here. We have about an hour and 12 minutes left until PCE and GDP data comes out. We're 2 minutes late. I've grown old. I know, guys. Listen, that was my plan this whole time. Hope you guys are doing good today. The ceasefire is still peak news right now. Essentially what happened is that we did announce the ceasefire yesterday. Markets flew. NASDAQ ripped up during this period of time. Oil fell dramatically here. You can still see the ceasefire pump right here in the NASDAQ. The issue here, though, is that yesterday, one of Iran's leaders, I believe their parliament speaker, essentially came out saying that we violated the ceasefire. And so there's still a ceasefire in place, but it's definitely iffy right now. And so you can see one of the things and one of the consequences of that iffiness is oil is starting to push all the way back up. It's almost back up over $100 a barrel. It fell as low as $91 a barrel after all this stuff happened here. So it did fall as low as 91s after all this stuff happened. And yeah, that's really what we're in the wake of right now, is the ceasefire potentially crumbling away here, and that's what people are worried about. So that's what we're at now. That's what people are worried about. And yeah.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What's up, John?
What's up, Britt? How you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Max, there's no way in hell either party will hold on to the terms of the ceasefire. Rooftop says another down day. Yeah, I mean, WTI is back up to almost 100. Here's WTI. We are at 99.50s right now. So this is WTI crude right here. We are at 99.50s right now, 99.50s. We'll see if that holds. But yeah, definitely another red day so far in this market here. And again, stocks are kind of shaky right now. So stocks are a little bit shaky. Tech has pulled back some. So here's Nvidia. Nvidia is down to 180s again. It was as high as like 185s, I believe, after the ceasefire was announced. Yeah, I got up to 185.20s. It's now all the way back to 180s here. We do have Apple. Apple down to 250s. It rebounded pretty heavily, but it's a little bit less so because it's had some bad reactions recently, and it's at 257. It's Meta, another one people are talking about. We did get some news from Meta earlier today, specifically that, let me find the news. CoreWeave and Meta announced a $21 billion expanded AI infrastructure agreement. The agreement includes initial deployments of NVIDIA Vera Rubin platform. So Meta actually reacting pretty well to all this stuff, but it's one of the tech stocks that's actually green on the day. And you can see it went all the way up to 630s yesterday. But now the big worry is oil back up. Amazon says its pharmacy unit will stock Eli Lilly's new weight loss pills at kiosks and will offer same-day deliveries. CoreWeave also announces it intends to offer $1.25 billion aggregate principal amount of senior notes due in 2031 in private offering. Intends to use proceeds from the offering of the notes for general corporate purposes. So CoreWeave offering was announced. You can see CoreWeave is popping up on one of the deals with Meta as well as the offering news. Trying to think why this offering would actually benefit CoreWeave, though. I mean, they're selling shares, you know, which is dilution. We also had news that one oil products tanker sails through the Strait of Hormuz in the past 24 hours, according to shipping data. 5 dry bulk ships and 2 Iranian flag ships. Also, whoever wrote this wrote it wrong. Also sails through. SAELES. Yeah, I don't know who wrote that, But yeah, that's markets right now. Again, here's CoreWeave. CoreWeave's up this morning. Here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's down under 25,000 again. The S&P 500 is under 6,800s. Again, the Dow is under 48,000 again. So most indexes, tech are down. And yeah, we'll see what happens today, guys. We'll see what happens. But so far, markets are red this morning. Markets are
ABC
red.
Doing?
What's what?
ABC.
What's the symbol?
Can't remember. Just Google's AI.
Oh, Google. It's at 313s.
Okay.
Yeah. Google's AI is Gemini.
Yeah, you've been saying something else. Maybe I'm mistaking what I'm talking about, to be honest with you. But I guess it doesn't really matter. Um, Short term. Uh, okay. Well, so what are gold and silver doing this morning? Out of
Yeah,
curiosity.
that's a good question. Gold is up a little bit today, probably on more uncertainty news. It's at 47.70s. It's kind of flat though. It's not up too much, but it's up a little bit. It did dip down yesterday. Let's see. It did push up some yesterday, but it gave it all back. So here's the ceasefire. Big rip up to almost 4900s, but it eventually kind of fell right back down. So it went up a lot from the ceasefire news, but it's not really buying it either, I think, for gold.
Okay.
So silver is probably a similar story here where, yeah, it went up a lot during the ceasefire, got up to almost $78 an ounce. It's all the way back down to under 75s now. It's at 74s here. So it's really been sideways for a minute now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thanks, UP. It is off, but I don't know why. Sometimes I get something in my head, and I just.
Oh, you said ABC. Technically, that would be the beginning of the alphabet. You know?
Yeah, no. I'm kind of a goofball sometimes. I do stuff like that. Like, it's related. Like, what I'm saying is related to what it actually is, but it's wrong.
Yeah. I was wondering. I was like, ABC. I was like, there's a cannabis stock that was ABC for a while. That we watched.
That's probably totally what I meant. If it makes me correct.
Yeah, listen, I believe that's what you meant. You know. Yeah, guys. So do we rebound today? Again, we do have. Look, if you look at the bottom, we do have PCE and GDP data today. The PCE report is from February, but GDP data has been in a really negative trend also. So GDP data has really kind of turned the other way here. GDP data originally showed up at like 1.4%. They've reduced it every time. Last time they reduced it to 0.7% for Q4. So I'm really curious to see what that looks like today, like what we get for that GDP and PCE report at 8:30 today in about an hour. I'm really curious to see what we get. Yeah, the ceasefire. I'm going to do a poll today first, and then we're probably going to pivot to more economic news. But the poll is going to be, does the ceasefire hold over the next few weeks?
I hope it does. I don't think that it will, but it may just be to give everybody some breathing room, and it may also just be so that both sides can say, hey, we tried, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, they're supposed to meet on Friday, so tomorrow they're supposed to meet in Pakistan. Vance is supposed to meet with some other counterparts in Pakistan. So I'm pretty sure that's right. And we also have jobless claims unemployment filings today, so we get a more recent look at jobs. So we got a bunch of data releases at 8:30. But ISM data has been, I think ISM services was actually a little bit weaker. I'm trying to remember when ISM services came out. Tomorrow we have CPI, which is the biggest report of the week by far. But we do have ISM data going live sometime. Yeah, so we do have ISM data going live at 8:30. Or no, I'm sorry. We do have CPI data going live at 8:30 tomorrow morning. That's the biggest report because that includes March data. So we had ISM services come out on Monday this week. ISM services came out weaker than expected, weaker than previously at 54. Prices were also higher than expected and higher than previously as well at 70.7 for March. So we had weaker PMI than expected and higher prices, which a lot of people interpreted as negative regarding the ISM print for services. Higher prices and weaker sentiment is making people nervous. But yeah. Here's silver. Again, we're watching the NASDAQ today. NASDAQ is right around 25,000. I think 25,000 just makes sense. It's a big psychological level that's worthwhile to pay attention to. And we're kind of straddling that level now. We're right around 25K. Here's 25 right here. Let me fix this and make it a little bit more accurate. But here's 25,000. We'll see if that level holds. Yeah, the big question is regarding Lebanon. Like, we're saying that was not part of the agreement. They're saying it was. Israel's been striking them still, and so there's been issues there in that context. And that's really what's making the ceasefire on really shaky ground. I asked people, does the ceasefire hold over the next few weeks? 83% say no in the chat. So 83% saying no. And yeah, it's definitely a little bit shakier right now.
Like I said, I mostly think it's to give negotiators a little breathing room to get their stuff together.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they're trying to meet tomorrow, and so as long as I can meet, I think hopefully we'll get a deal done. The big question mark is enrichment. We're still hearing from both sides disagreements in that way. We're hearing from both sides that what our side is saying, hey, you can't enrich, and that that's part of this deal. The other side has said, hey, we're going to enrich, that's part of this deal. And so that's, I think, one of the front and center things going on right now.
Yeah, it seems like they're definitely at different ends of the spectrum on that particular issue.
Right, and that's the big worry that I have is like if that aspect hasn't seemed to change. Yesterday, the president did tweet saying that part of this deal was that they wouldn't enrich, and if he's telling the truth, that's great. But go ahead, Britt.
I was just gonna say to me that's the whole crux of the matter. I mean, that's what this whole conflict has been about, is that issue. I mean, honestly, the rest of the stuff, I mean, I'm not saying it's not important, but realistically, you could put everything else to the side and focus on just that. I mean, that really is the main problem that everybody's facing.
100%. That's why we went there, really.
Yeah.
That's why we claimed we went there, Now, some of it also, a lot of people are going to say had to do with oil, and maybe, but
possibly.
But that was the justification for going there, is stop their enrichment, because again, I'll say this again, prior to this conflict, we met with them a bunch of different times, like multiple times we met with them with the same kind of, negotiation points. Hey, you can't enrich. They said, no, we're going to enrich. You can babysit us, but we're going to enrich. And we said, no, you can't do that. And then eventually the conflict started, and here we are. Really going back and forth of the same thing. And so until I hear them saying, hey, we're not going to enrich anymore, I'm going to be skeptical, I think. Because this has been, like you said, it's been the main talking point. It's been the main... it's been the main line in the sand. Yeah, it's been the main line in the sand. Main point of contention. So we'll see what happens. I don't think the president's been tweeting much today, though.
Give it time.
He tweeted about 7 hours ago.
What's your
basically what he said?
Sorry.
Yeah, so basically what he said was that all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel, and this was big news, with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary. Okay, let me read this again. All U.S. ships, aircrafts, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts bigger and better and stronger than anyone has seen before. It was agreed a long time ago, and despite all the fake rhetoric to the contrary, no nuclear, and the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. In the meantime, our great military is loading up and resting, looking forward actually to its next conquest. America is back, end quote, U.S. President. So that is what's going on today, basically. Is that we're keeping troops there just in case the ceasefire breaks, is what this is.
Yeah, troops and munitions. I heard, actually, I think it was yesterday, that we've only used about a tenth of our allocated munitions budget and I don't know, tools and whatnot so far.
Yeah, I mean,
we have a lot more in reserve.
Yeah, that might be true. It's still probably a lot, though.
Yeah, no, it is, and it just doesn't bode well. Like I hope things can
cool down.
I hope we can reach a peaceful resolution.
Yeah, me too. I think everybody should hope that. And until then, I mean, the Nasdaq is up. Here's the NQ right now. It's under 25,000. It is up from the ceasefire, so markets are still pricing in somewhat of a optimistic outlook. But we have pulled back some. We got as high as 25,250s. We're now at 20. We are now sitting at 24,990. So we are now sitting slightly under the 25,000 level on the Nasdaq. Again, the Dow is sitting under 48,000. It's at 47,920s. The S&P is sitting at 6,800 roughly, or 6790s. So roughly 6,800.
And we're trending extremely sideways, huh? For a while. What's the timeline on this data?
This is 2 days here. So here's yesterday right here, and then here's today so far. So these little dotted lines signify days. So here is 1 day. Here's yesterday.
Okay.
And then here's today. So today we've been basically purely sideways. We're really just not moving at all today. Again, we might be waiting for data. We might be waiting for more updates on everything going on. But
do you have any predictions on the GDP or PCE data? Or are there already some existing predictions? Like what do we think is going to happen?
yeah, well, the expectations for GDP data is again at 0.7%. So GDP expected to show back up at 0.7%. Inflation data is expected to go down slightly year over year and stay the same month over month. Jobless claims also come out today at 8:30. They're expected to go up. So increase in jobless claims, how many people are filing for unemployment, is expected to go up to 210 versus 202,000 previously. So we have less than an hour now for that data, and we'll see what we get, guys. We'll see what we get. Nvidia is starting to bounce back higher here. We're at almost 181s now for Nvidia. So Nvidia is trying to get back up. Are you guys bullish or bearish on the data? I'm watching maritime traffic. Short everything.
I've looked at a little bit of that myself too. It's actually really cool to watch the satellite view of ship traffic going through the strait. It's pretty wild, volume wise.
No, for sure, 100%. It is a little crazy, for sure. Neutral on data.
I'm gonna vote that way too. I think neutral.
Yeah, neutral makes sense. You know, like neutral makes sense. It depends. You know, this data is old, right? So February data for PCE data is old, and then the previous one is Q4. But tomorrow we get actual CPI data going live. So we get actual CPI data coming out. We'll see what that looks like. But we do get actual CPI data going live 8:30 tomorrow. That's the biggest report of the week by far. Nvidia is starting to creep back up here a little bit here though. So Nvidia is back over 181. Maybe we're seeing tech rebound. We have had some tech news going live today. EU official says there are no imminent threats to gas supplies. Long-term impacts are expected. The Iranian parliament speaker Ghalibaf, who's the same one that was speaking yesterday talking about how the ceasefire was broken, but the Iranian parliament speaker Ghalibaf did post on X reiterating that Lebanon is part of the ceasefire and any ceasefire violation carries costs and a quote strong response. And this is the same guy that said the ceasefire broke yesterday. So the same guy that said the ceasefire broke yesterday. Yeah. So that happened just now. But I mean, at least he's acknowledging there is a ceasefire.
Yeah, but I think that's only going to work if like all sides, including the forces, the proxies in Yemen, commit to the ceasefire as well. You know, I mean, you can't expect one side to stop while the other, if the other side doesn't. You know, hopefully they will. I think, you know, maybe they have. I don't know.
These were his exact quotes. He said, "Quote, Iran's Ghalibaf said." Again, quote, Lebanon and Iran's allied groups are formally included in the ceasefire framework. Pakistan's prime minister publicly reinforced that this position is firm and non-negotiable. Ceasefire violations carry explicit costs and strong responses. Extinguish the fire immediately, end quote. So this is what he said right here. This is his exact post right here. So, yeah, this is what he said right here. Lebanon and the entire resistance axis as Iran's allies form an inseparable part of the ceasefire, which is point 1 through in the 10-point proposal. The prime minister publicly and clearly stressed that Lebanon issue, there is no room for denial or backtracking. Ceasefire violations carry explicit costs and strong responses. Extinguish the fire immediately, is what he says. Immediately. So let's see what he says, guys. Let's see what he says. But this is crucial and interesting.
Yeah, hopefully it works out. I mean, keep your fingers crossed, everybody. You know.
Yeah. I mean, this is where we need to come to some agreement. Realistically, if there's a ceasefire and it has to do with allies, we should probably stop all strikes. It just looking at it as objective as I can, and try to. Like a ceasefire between Iran and then continuing to fight, some of their allies, kind of it contradicts the whole point of the ceasefire. So I'm not siding with them. I'm just saying let's try to get a deal done here. Like, let's try to actually stop and figure it out and let this conflict resolve. Let oil go back to normal prices for our good. Like, this the good for us. Like, we need oil to go down. We need the Strait of Hormuz open. I don't know. And now, again, like I said yesterday, there's not rumors, really. Iran has basically said they're charging tolls now to cross the strait. And so, like I said earlier in yesterday's stream, I'm worried about whether oil is going to return to pre-conflict levels. I'm worried if the Strait of Hormuz is going to go back to pre-conflict flow. And I think that's the big worry right now, is that even if this ends, if they're charging tolls, that's not pre-conflict flow. And that is going to more long-term negatively impact inflation. It's going to more long-term negatively impact the free flow of oil. And that's one of the risks right now, I think, in all this stuff is that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and, a deal of some sort, I mean, is what's best for everybody, in terms of preserving, peace. But I just think that both sides need to come to the realization that, a good deal is both sides getting some of the things they want, not everything they want,
Sure. Like, no, that's right. 100% agree. 100% agree. This admin says Hormuz is irrelevant since U.S. benefits from high oil prices. Well, we're not relying on Brent as much. It's more the worldwide standard. But, we're not the biggest exporter of things around the country. We're not the biggest exporter. Most of the time we import things from other countries is really what we do. And so regardless of whether we use Brent crude, number one, our oil still goes up, number one. Supply and demand, it's more in demand if the Middle Eastern oil is harder to get, number one. But also number two is that the worldwide standard of oil affects everything. It trickles into everything. And so we're still going to have potentially more inflation for this conflict, even if we get our oil here, even if we're less reliant on the Middle East.
Assuming we have some insulation because we consume most of our own oil, but like it has to affect us some, like you said.
Right, exactly. Like we're still going to deal with inflation regardless of where we get our oil, All right, so look at the Q just jump here. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. So the Q is jumping up some. Here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is at 25.25s here. So here's the NASDAQ pump here. Something just happened. Let's see. CoreWeave did announce intent to offer a $3 billion aggregate principal amount of its convertible senior notes through 2034. I don't think that's what this is. CoreWeave is already up on the day. Let's see if we got any other breaking news coming out. Yeah, oil prices. We can take a look at it. Look at the NASDAQ jump. Something just happened. Look at the NASDAQ jump. Here's oil. Let's see if oil's going down. Oil's going down a little bit, but not nearly as much as the NASDAQ is going up here. So let's look to tech. Nvidia climbing. Apple, Meta. Meta's going up some. Yeah, and again, a couple of minutes ago, we did have the Iranian parliament speaker say the ceasefire proposal included Lebanon in the entire axis of resistance on a post on X. But interesting. Look at the S&P. The S&P's pushing up here as well. Something just happened, I'm sure. This has got to be some type of maybe news catalyst, I would assume. Although it is mostly the NASDAQ with the big, strong move up. Volume did increase in this period of time as well. You can see volume surge here.
Does that indicate anything to you, that it's mostly the NASDAQ?
NASDAQ is more tech heavy, so like if we see the NASDAQ jump and the S&P react less, it could just mean maybe some big tech news happened. But
okay,
I'm just trying to figure out the cause of this move. It could be technical.
Okay.
But I don't see any news release. I see the CoreWeave news that dropped about 3 minutes ago. The CoreWeave is actually down some. But we're back over 25,000. Maybe that 25,000 level is just a highly liquid level here, potentially. I mean, that's definitely plausible.
Yeah. So were you basically saying a couple of minutes ago that you think Brent crude prices would affect us more if we were still an industrial-based economy as opposed to a service economy?
Sorry. I was looking at something else. Say that again.
I said you were a couple minutes ago. Were you basically saying that you think that Brent crude prices would affect us more if we were still an industrial-based economy and not a service-based economy, like if we were still like a major exporter.
Yeah. I mean, they're not gonna. When we import things from around the world, the worldwide inflation affects us more, right? And the U.S. is not really known as a big exporter. You know why? It's because our stuff's expensive here. We're usually importing cheaper things. We do a lot of imports, obviously, from China. You know, we import a lot of stuff here from China. China manufactures it cheaply, and we import it here. Our manufacturing, everything compared to the rest of the world, especially, like you got to look at it at how much things cost here versus the rest of the world. And so when you look at that dynamic, where generally speaking things are more expensive here in the U.S. versus almost everywhere else in the world, it doesn't make as much sense for us to export our goods to other places. Although, you know, we do still export some stuff, but the overarching point I'm trying to make is that inflation around the world impacts us negatively. And so, and one of the things that causes that inflation is the rise in Brent crude, the worldwide standard of oil. And so, I'm looking at maybe buying the NASDAQ here.
Cut out. I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, I said I'm thinking about maybe buying the NASDAQ here at 25,000.
Take a shot.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I was just curious because we used to be an industry-based economy, like really up until about the mid 70s, post World War II, we were making and exporting about 60% of the world's goods.
Sure. No. Yeah, we were a big exporter, but again, things have changed for sure.
Oh yeah, I know.
All right, so we did get a payout yesterday on Lucid as well, and dude, they processed this payout in like 3 minutes. So we got paid in like 3 minutes. We requested the payout, got the payout 3 minutes. Genuinely pretty quickly. And look, another relevant level on this chart right now is 25.39 here. Yeah, so I'm watching the previous closing price. This is the level where we actually go green to red, red to green. On the day, you can see it's 25.39 on the NASDAQ. Here's the volume weighted average price. I was thinking about buying it. Maybe I should have bought this because we pulled back very close to that level and bounced exactly at it. Yeah, 3 minutes is quick. Yeah, 3 minutes is very quick. Yeah.
Give me 1 second, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know if Z-Man is going to last very long. He seems like he's going to get banned pretty quick. I do like the Palantir's name, to the Palantir's guy. Shout out to that name. I mean, we export some stuff. Like, we export semiconductors right now. I mean, obviously, we're exporting some things. Now, you could argue, hey, those are getting made in Taiwan most of the time anyway. But eventually, they will. It's still our company. So, in some ways, we export, we export some agricultural stuff. We export, like, aircraft engines, parts.
Energy products, advanced manufacturing, aerospace, and pharmaceuticals are our main exports.
Now, we're not a huge exporter, like, relative to some other countries, but we still export some stuff. Saying we export nothing is silly, you know? Of course we do.
Did not know, honestly, like, I appreciate the education. I did not know that we exported semiconductors.
Yeah, well, we kind of do. They're made in Taiwan, but they're U.S. semiconductors. They're NVIDIA semiconductors.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because our semiconductors are the best in the world, at least according to most people. And so people want our semiconductors. Now,
is it capability or just production standards, do you think?
It's capability. We got powerful chips.
Yeah.
NVIDIA chips run the world, really, in terms of AI and chips. Now, China's, they're doing okay over there for sure. And there's some stuff we probably don't know in that regard. But
yeah, I've heard they're closing the gap, or at least they appear to be.
Yeah, for sure. They probably are, at least somewhat. Yeah. So
How'd the poll end up?
did I do a poll? Yeah, I did. Okay, so I asked people,
Yeah,
does the ceasefire hold over the next few weeks? 77% of people say no, it does not. 77% of people. So again, Nvidia climbing back higher here. Speaking of chips, Nasdaq right at that 25,000 level. I was really thinking about buying this dip here. Maybe I should have. I just figured we go up to test this level, we pull back to the volume weighted average price, and then we retest it. It doesn't mean we're necessarily going to break it right here, but it becomes higher probability, I think, as time goes on. And maybe I should have bought it. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Hindsight is kind of the best way to do it. Hindsight trading, you know?
Yeah.
I said, yes, I'm optimistic. I hope it does hold. I think if we meet with them in Pakistan, the likelihood that it holds is going to go up like dramatically here. And so I think the likelihood that it actually follows through, if we actually meet with them and it doesn't break prior to that, is good. I think if we meet with them in Pakistan tomorrow and, you know, it's not looking like it's going to break, then we're doing okay. You know.
Yeah, I think so too, and I mean, especially because I think that, you know, the guy we're sending is usually pretty calm. I think.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's a good chance it holds. We'll see.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, I didn't think that it would, but I'm hopeful that it will.
Yeah,
just you know, try to be pragmatic.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Does the ceasefire hold, chat? Let me know. Are you guys bullish or bearish on the day? That's another question. Bull or bear in chat? Let me know what you guys think. Core Weave has continued to fall down some. Yeah, so again, Iranian president says Israel's renewed incursion into Lebanon violates the ceasefire. Warns actions risk making talks meaningless. And vows continued support for Lebanon, end quote, from, yeah. So I asked people, bull or bear. Bull, green to red, flat today, gap close bias. Yeah, dip and rip. Bear, bull. Ceasefire will not hold. Bullish today, bearish tomorrow. That's probably the best. Perma bull. I can respect it as a. I'm accused of being a perma bull, but I don't think I am. Bear. Take profit. Wishful or hope is not trading bias. Yeah, I mean, there's confirmation bias. I mean,
perma bull sounds like an energy drink.
Yeah, I mean, wishful or hopeful is not trading bias. I disagree. I think that's actually what bias is. But it depends on what kind of bias. Core Weave, the Debt Kings. Yeah, they did an offering. They sold more shares. They went up to almost 96, I think, on the meta deal news, but they kind of came right back down on more details into the offering. Yeah, again, we'll see what happens. Breaking news is moving things, so the news is really what's impacting a lot of this.
Yeah.
Again, Iran's president says Israeli strikes on Lebanon violate the ceasefire agreement, says attacks on Lebanon would deem ceasefire negotiations, quote, meaningless. And yeah, we're here, guys. We're here. We're getting into the nitty-gritty of the day here. We do have, specifically, we have economic data coming out in about 40 minutes here. 40 minutes. So you can see the big timer we have on the bottom. Sugar-free perma bull. I can respect it.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. It does sound like an energy drink.
Yeah, that's right. Trademark that,
kinda...
Brit. Trademark it, dude. That's you.
It's officially trademarked. I'm sure there's no legal process I have to go through or anything.
Yeah, it's like that episode of The Office where Michael Scott thinks that the way you declare bankruptcy is just going around saying, I declare bankruptcy.
Well, he was a very shrewd businessman, so I mean, maybe.
Yeah, that's it, dude. Listen, I'm sure it's trademarked now. Let's see if the NASDAQ can hold over 25,000. Let's see if the Nasdaq can hold over 25,000. 25K is right around the 200 exponential. I'm really watching this level. It's a big psychological level. It's right around the 200 exponential. And we are over this level now. So I'm looking at this level in the NQ here. 25K, right around the 200 EMA. VWAP is not super high above us either. It's this purple line. So the volume weighted average price is not super high. All of this could be some support areas here. And yeah, let's see if this actually holds. But
as a small aside, I personally think the UK version of The Office was better. I like Ricky Gervais better, personally.
You haven't seen all of the new one. The new one's
I've watched
great.
a lot of it. My dad's been watching a lot of it, so I've been catching a lot of it with him, and it is funny. Don't get me wrong; it's funnier than I thought it was. I think that I like the UK version better because it's not quite as over the top, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the UK one's just shorter. There's only a few episodes, and so you don't get to really learn the characters. Too. Yeah,
I've always been a big Ricky Gervais fan.
Yeah. I mean, the new one's better, I think, but personally, you know, that's okay. You're wrong, but that's all right.
You can accept that.
Yeah, join the Discord, guys. It's completely free. It doesn't cost anything.
Trademarks cost tens of thousands per block of countries, plus China always ignores them. Good luck.
Way to interpret that as serious. You know,
yeah,
way to take it literally, guy.
I'm sure if I just pass my hat around, you know, I'll have it in no time.
That's right, man. That's right. I believe it. For Dave, you can use most MT4 for some of them, I think. Parkour, yeah. Yeah, guys, listen, we got 35 minutes. 35 minutes. Again, let me know, are you bullish or bearish on the PCE and GDP data? I think the GDP one has been negative. Has been a really negative sign. Again, the last one was expected at 1.4% for GDP. It ended up showing up at 0.7%. This is the best drawing in the world right here. Look at this. It ended up showing up at 0.7. So, will we see that trend of negative GDP for last year continue? And will that shake markets? We're going to look at inflation. PCE inflation is called the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index. This is the inflation gauge that the Federal Reserve uses to guide its rate decisions. And so the Federal Reserve looks at specifically core PCE, which again releases live in 35 minutes. Core PCE is what they specifically look at for all of this. So, yeah, that's what drops today at 8:30 is core PCE inflation. And so we'll see what happens. But
so
yeah,
this
PCE
includes,
and GDP.
So is this including, like, you know, things you have to buy, or just things that people have the extra money to buy?
These are just things that people buy. This is like things people use in terms of consumption, like consumers. So, like, we can look up what is included in PCE data.
Yeah,
and this is household spending on goods and services. So durable goods, cars, non-durable goods, food, gasoline, services, housing, healthcare. It's pretty encompassing. It's out-of-pocket expenses and inputted expenditures.
Okay, so it's things people have to use, have to have.
Well, yeah.
Mostly.
Pharmaceuticals, clothing, food, beverages, gas, you know.
Cars, yeah.
But it also includes, like, transportation. It has to use is, you know. Yeah. So, we'll get it. It goes live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's published by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, is what it's published by. So, what's up, Fonz? Yeah, it's Q4 GDP last year, which a lot of this is going to be influenced by the shutdown. But a lot of people are worried we're headed towards a recession, is why this is relevant. And again, originally it was 1.4 for GDP. The next one was 0.7%. And if we see that trend continue more towards a negative number, and then the other way we'd be in a recession. A recession is technically defined as 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. So 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters, boom, we're in a recession, unfortunately. And so if that dynamic continues, that's the risk here. Is, you know, are we trending towards a recession? And I don't think we are. I think this data is skewed negatively because of the shutdown last year. I don't think Q1 is going to necessarily show a recession. starting. Remember, we have to have two negative numbers. So if quarter four is negative, which I don't think it will be, maybe you could say, hey, we're heading towards a recession if the quarter one was negative. Again, quarter one does include March. And so, I don't know how good quarter one's going to be necessarily. I'll have to look to see what the predictions are for quarter one. But again, I don't know what quarter one's going to look like necessarily. What do you guys think the GDP number is going to show up as? Give me a percentage in chat. What do you guys think the GDP number is going to show up as? We asked about the ceasefire. Still, 74% of people think the ceasefire does not hold over the next few weeks. They're supposed to meet tomorrow. Vance and others are supposed to meet tomorrow in Pakistan, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any idea what the numbers are. I don't know enough yet to make an accurate prediction on that. I don't think, but I don't think that we're going to have a recession.
Yeah, I see 0.4%. I see 1.5%. I don't think, we need two consecutive losing GDP prints to be negative. And I just don't think we have anywhere close to that,
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think we have negative GDP. I think if quarter four was noticeably weaker than expected, it's probably from the shutdown. So.
Yeah.
So. I see some people saying 1.4 or 0.4, 1.5%. Somebody said I'm going to join the Discord just to harass Brent. It's Brick for his opinion on The Office. I'm disgusted. I'm kind of disgusted too. I mean, listen, I like the UK one, but the UK one doesn't have nearly as much heart as the new one.
No, it's wittier though, in my opinion.
Yeah, it might be funnier in some ways. The problem with season one of the new Office is not as good. Once you get past season one, it becomes much better.
Also, I don't mind being harassed, but let me give you another reason to harass me. Parks and Rec blows The Office out of the water. So.
How dare you, bro? How dare you, dude? How could you say that, dude?
Because it's awesome. Ron Swanson alone makes that show better than The Office.
I like Parks and Rec too, but yeah. Anyways, NASDAQ sitting at 2530 here, 2530. Let's see what happens here. We're kind of crunched between a range heading into this data release. We're kind of crunched right here. Again, here's the previous close. Here's 25,000 and the 200 exponential, really right around the same spot. And so we do have this kind of wedge of big levels, milestone levels here on this chart. And we'll see what we get here, guys. We'll see what we get. Tech has bounced back over the last hour or so, but most of it is still red on the day, including Nvidia, which is the most heavily weighted stock. Meta is green. Alphabet's slightly red. Microsoft is basically flat. Amazon is actually kind of green. Both are better than Friends. I agree with you. I never liked Friends.
It is better than Friends, but I like Friends too. It's a different kind of show. That's apples and oranges,
Yeah. I'm bullish until further notice. The market doesn't care. I think it does, but how much it cares is a different story. I think markets are getting kind of immune to the news releases that we're getting every day. So I think markets are just kind of getting immune to all this stuff, dude. I think they're kind of getting a little immune to everything going on right now. It's sorry, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I really hate Friends.
Dude, I'm kind of with you. I don't like Friends. Don't tell my stepmom this because she's a big Friends fan, But I don't like Friends at all, dude. I don't like Friends at all. Maybe it's too old. No offense. I mean, there's some old stuff. I love the 90s. But I don't like the 90s.
Sitcoms.
I like some of the 90s. I like some.
Seinfeld was great.
Yeah. I just don't like... Curb Your Enthusiasm is great. But
honestly, if you like those things, a very good precursor to both of them was the Larry Sanders Show. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Gary Shandling.
I'll check it out. But yeah, look, guys, so we are up to 25,000. Here's the previous closing price. I'm watching for a break of this level ahead of this data here. We have 28 minutes left. 28 minutes left.
What do you predict, John?
Man, I don't know. I think it depends on the data. I think we're kind of sideways really over the last 20, 30 minutes here. We're definitely in an upward trend. I did want to buy this pullback at the volume weighted average price, and I just didn't, and so I'm kind of mad about that now. But we're starting to see some rebounding effects. I think even though markets are still skeptical of the ceasefire, I think a couple people coming out releasing a statement basically saying, hey, you better get things under control, means that maybe we're going to get the ceasefire back on track. Again, as long as we can meet with them tomorrow, I think there's going to be more optimism from me about the ceasefire holding. Now, if a bunch of crap goes on today that pushes all this back, obviously that's different. And so, that's kind of where I am here. And I think markets are kind of feeling the same way, where they're slightly optimistic, but also slightly worried. And so we just kind of have a big sideways range. Pushed up a lot yesterday,
gold is climbing.
Yeah, I mean, gold, it's been flat most of the morning here. It is creeping up, though. Yeah, it's up to 47.70s. Here's gold. Yeah, we can also take a look at yields today. Here's yields heading into this report. Now, the dynamic here is that if markets price in hawkishness from this report, what'll happen is that you'll see yields here start to climb up, right? So if markets price in hawkishness from this report, you'll see yields jump up, specifically the 10 and the 2-year. You should see them jump up here. Here's the 2-year treasury yields. But you can also look at, before we take a look at that, here's the 10-year over the last few days. And really today it's slightly down. Yesterday it pushed up a lot. So yeah, but we fell, like the ceasefire was announced here. Just to put this into perspective, ceasefire announced, boom, yields fell. People were less worried about inflation, meaning the Fed can cut interest rates, and yields fell. The Fed can cut interest rates earlier than expected. And then all the news about Israel and Lebanon and the strikes continuing and the potential ceasefire, being, less sure. And then yields climbed back higher here. And that's basically where we are now. If we take a look at the 2-year treasury yields, we did have the Fed minutes yesterday. Fed minutes wasn't, I see some people talking about how the Fed minutes was this big shocking report. Not really. The Fed minutes report barely moved markets at all. What moved markets is the Iran parliament speaker coming out basically saying that the stuff going on in Lebanon breaks the ceasefire. That scared markets. And again, we can take a look at 2-year treasury yields, which are a little bit more closely reacted to in terms of Fed sentiment. You can see 2-year treasury yields. Here's where the ceasefire was announced, and then yields fell because, again, if a ceasefire happens, there's less worry about inflation, right? So if we get a deal done, there's less worry about inflation long term, which means the Fed has more of a green light to cut interest rates, and yields fall. Yields and interest rates follow each other. So if it's looking more likely we're going to cut interest rates, yields fall down like this. If it's looking more likely we're going to raise interest rates, yields go up. And so again, ceasefire announced here, dump in yields, worries about the ceasefire holding, yields popped right back higher to where they're at now. And heading into this report in 25 minutes, that's the dynamic you want to pay attention to. Again, if markets interpret this as hawkish, yields will pop higher. So yields will go up. If market interprets it as hawkish, what would that look like? That will look like high inflation means less green light to cut interest rates, which means higher interest rates potentially in turn higher yields. All right. If we get low inflation data where the market interprets it as dovish, like, hey, we got more green light to cut interest rates, then yields could fall. And so we could see yields fall down. And again, that logic is just, lower inflation potentially, lower PCE data, weaker GDP maybe even. All of that stuff could contribute here because weaker labor and weaker GDP mixed with low inflation could open the door for more earlier cuts. But we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. Will this report be hawkish or dovish, guys? Let me know.
I don't know. Hey, what are the different kinds of IRAs, and like which one do you prefer, or what do you think is best to invest in?
Really, I'm gonna have to look this up because there's a bunch of different ones.
Okay, well, the only one that I've ever really heard specifically about is like Roth IRA.
Yeah, that's what I assumed you were gonna say. I like Roth IRAs, but to be completely honest, I don't know a ton about IRAs and their types. I know I have a Roth because I'm self-employed, or I have maybe it's not a Roth. I have a I have one of these. I have to ask my tax guy. But again, this is something that I'm not, I'm not super familiar with.
Didn't mean
IRAs.
to put you on the spot. Might be.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. I don't know that much. I'll be honest. I just don't know a bunch about them. Now I can give you guys some regurgitated AI response, but yeah, frankly, I just don't know a bunch about IRAs. Nasdaq is pushing up though. Nasdaq is at 2540s.
So since the chat is kind of answering me, maybe you guys can answer me on this. Is there an early withdrawal penalty on a Roth IRA?
Yeah, so just to put this into perspective, guys, the Nasdaq did just climb. It's technically green on the day. It's up to 25,043 right now. So the Nasdaq is technically green on the day this morning, guys. Technically green on the Nasdaq on the day here. $50 penalty, Rob says. Is that right? 50%?
Okay. Wow.
Damn.
Thanks for answering me, Chad. I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Yeah. Okay, so you can withdraw. Yeah, double tax. You can withdraw the money you put in, but you pay a penalty. Hey, Brett, you should ask about IRAs more, dude. Look at the chat. Chat's the IRA. Yeah, they're the IRA master right now. They're like Master Splinter, but with IRAs,
I bow at your feet, chat. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so Nasdaq technically green on the day. Let's take a look at the S&P 500 here. We're at 6,800s right now. Yeah, S&P's not green, so this is mostly tech driving the big rebound here. Here's the S&P 500. It's got a little bit more ways to go before it goes green on the day. This light blue line, again, the previous closing price, the red to green level. It gets over this level, it's technically green. What this means is that tech is leading the way in the green rebounding here. So you can see this driven by Amazon, up to 225s right now for Amazon. Look at Amazon bounce back. Nvidia climbing back higher here. It was at 180s. It's starting to climb back higher. Meta deal with CoreWeave this morning. It's all the way up to 625s right now for Meta. So Meta's rebounding. Microsoft's not doing too much. Amazon, again, flying higher here. Alphabet's not doing too much, but...
You mean ABC?
Yeah, ABC, that's right. That should have been their day, honestly.
Honestly, that was a little embarrassing.
Yeah, you were like, ABC... I was sitting there trying to think, like, what the heck is ABC, dude?
Well, like clearly, my brain was making the connection. I just,
yeah, just not quite. You almost had it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Intel's down. Amazon's higher. Where's Nike at this morning? Everybody's been making fun of me about Nike. I can't have one bad buy here. Really, I took profit when it was much higher than this.
Well,
I'll never hear the end of this.
Long term, I don't think it's a bad buy.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Thought on Quantum Ghost Murmur. Is that the new Tom Clancy video game? Because that's what it sounds like.
Ghost Murmur. Yeah. I believe it, Brad. I believe that's exactly what it is, dude.
It sounds like a Splinter Cell game.
Yeah, full porting shorts at 8:30. Hey, good luck, guys. Listen, we'll see what happens here. Again, we did take a withdrawal from Lucid yesterday. They processed it in like 4 seconds. No, okay, that's way too fast. They processed it in 4 minutes, 3 minutes. I'll have to look. I took a picture of it. But they processed it within like less than 5 minutes. And so shout out to Lucid. Use my coupon code BGT at checkout. Get the max discount. I'll put the Lucid link up for anybody that wants to try it out while we're here. But honestly, I was surprised at how fast they processed that withdrawal here. Coupon code BGT at checkout.
I was going to ask, what's like standard processing time for like other platforms?
I would say like a day, Oh, wow. There's the link right there.
It's a very large difference.
Yeah, it was quick. It was quick, dude. Yeah, they're an affiliate of mine. I'm biased, of course. We got 20 minutes left, guys. 20 minutes. Let's see what the data shows today. Again, so big dip in a lot of stuff, but tech's starting to rebound back higher here. Genuinely is starting to rebound back higher. Again, we do have economic data going live today at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Economic data going live 8:30 Eastern Standard Time today. Let's see what we get, guys. Let's see what we get. But we have PCE inflation. We've got GDP data. We've got jobless claims all going live in 17 minutes. This is a big report. at the very least, considering the sheer number of reports we have going live at 8:30, we should get some movement from this. Now, is it going to be as much movement as tomorrow with the CPI report? Probably not, because tomorrow's CPI report includes March data, which means that we're going to see the inflationary aspects of this conflict reflected in tomorrow's CPI report. So no matter what you do, you better be tuning in here at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, because that's when we're going to see the very first look at how this conflict has shaped the consumer price index inflation for March. Big report tomorrow. Big report tomorrow. Not to undersell today's, but tomorrow's the biggest report of the week for sure. Bigger than Fed minutes, bigger than everything. So, yeah. I'm bullish. Hey, we'll see what we get. Yeah, it's all good. Inflation expectations are 3.4% for tomorrow for CPI. Yeah. That's jumping up a full percentage point. The month over month is almost 1%. The month over month expectation tomorrow for CPI, headline CPI, is what includes food and energy prices. So the month over month tomorrow is expected, I think it's like 0.9% tomorrow, which obviously is very, very high. Yeah, but even if you look at the Lucid side, it says payouts generally processed. I think the average time is like 15 minutes. So, shout out to Lucid. And here we go, guys. We're heading into the prime time for this report. We have 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
I forgive you, Illusion. Sorry for your broken thumb.
Yeah.
Also, I looked up what a quantum ghost murmur is. It's wild. It's a technology developed to locate people in remote terrain by detecting their heartbeat's electromagnetic signature from miles away. That's crazy.
Yeah, technology is just getting out of control. Yeah, it's just getting out of control.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, again, we do have data today. I'm excited. 15 minutes. Are we looking at 15% inflation in 6 months? No. I mean, look, if we look at the CPI graph here, here's the consumer price index. I always try to look at this because it's an important kind of knowledge for everybody to have here. Here's the consumer price index over the past 20 years. All right, since 2006. All right, so you see a couple different things. Number one, the only time we literally go down in prices, remember, prices don't go down, they slow down most of the time. The only time we literally go down is when we're in like a deep economic crisis. Like 2007 is the only time we really went down over the last 20 years in terms of prices on average literally decreasing. And so, you know, there's been a couple times inflation's been close to zero, but very rarely do prices literally go down. They just slow down. This is why it's important to invest to hedge against inflation long term. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. But if you do not hedge, you're going to lose money over time. This is just, you know, this is just true if you look at history. You can also see the inflationary aspects of 2020, lockdowns, stimulus checks, everything that went on in 2020, supply chain problems, super low interest rate environment, quantitative easing, money printing, and all this stuff spiked inflation up to almost 10% by 2022. And so by 2022, we were at 9-point-something% for consumer price index. Then the Fed started raising interest rates. They started doing a bunch of rate hikes, trying to push the economy down to slow the rise of inflation, and it worked to a certain extent. We started to see some declines. Inflation settled back down to basically where it's at here now for CPI. But again, this is expected to jump up. Just to put this into perspective, this is expected to jump now all the way back up to about right here. So we are expected to jump back higher here as of tomorrow to about right there. Is that a crazy jump? No, but it's definitely not a good sign for the consumer price index inflation.
How much currency was? Sorry.
No, you're good. Were you gonna ask how much currency was printed in 2020?
Yeah, how much was pumped into the economy is what I was going to ask. Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I think over 3 trillion. Over 3 trillion.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. So estimated range, I'm looking it up, was between 3.3 and 4 trillion in new liquidity added to the financial system by late 2020.
Okay. And or if you go by like the headline inflation, like including fuel and I'm sorry, energy and food, wasn't actual inflation around 20%?
It was high. It depends on, this includes food and energy prices swings. It depends on how you look at it. Like some stuff was definitely high. And we did see a lot of it. And really, I've said this many times, but this is why markets are still unhappy about inflation over the last 5 years. Like people are like, hey, inflation, inflation, inflation. Most of that inflation came from back then, right? So like we're not really at a super high level of inflation percentage right now. Again, we're at 2.4 or whatever.
Yeah.
But prices went up so quickly then that we're still dealing with it, to be honest. So.
Oh yeah, I mean you can definitely still feel the effects. Honestly, for me, it's most noticeable at the grocery store.
Right, for sure. Yeah. That's definitely probably true. Toilet paper, yeah. All right, guys, so again, we got a couple minutes left. The NASDAQ has now fallen under that previous closing price here, so we're kind of straddling this red to green level on the charts. Yeah, so we're kind of straddling that red to green level. It's not looking crazy. We're just kind of straddling the red to green spot. We'll see if we end up breaking out of this range or what ends up ultimately happening here, but we're just kind of flat now. I think the real inflation rate is over 10%. We had that a few years back and denied the recession. Yeah, and I was one of those people that said I think we were in a recession. We had two consecutive losing GDP quarters back then. And I think we did have a recession just based off of everything going on. But I also think, like, if you were one of those people back then saying, hey, you got to go by the standard definition, you also can't come out and say we're in a recession now because we're not, And so.
I agree with both of those things.
Yeah. Dude, you want a long? I mean.
Yeah, back then they kind of skewed the definition, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of a weird time.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely strange.
NASDAQ at 2540s here, 2540s. Here's the previous close. Yeah, a lot of people are arguing stagflation, which is an economic state in which we have high inflation pressures and weak labor. So high inflation and weak labor are the signs of stagflation. Powell did come out saying that he didn't think we were in stagflation, that essentially, when we created that word stagflation, that it was a period of time where we had really high inflation and really weak labor. I think it was in the 70s, if I remember correctly. And if anybody knows about the 70s inflation, in the 70s economy, it was not good at all. Late 70s, I think is what it was. Early 80s, late 70s. And so he basically said we're not in that situation. That the stagflation worries mean that, like, we need to have really high inflation and really weak labor to be in a stagflation situation, and that we just don't see signs of that. Now, we might see weakening in labor and increases to inflation, but we're not in a stagflation situation yet, is what he said at the last FOMC meeting a couple weeks ago. So,
I apologize, but I didn't catch what you said about the 70s and early 80s. I think it could just cut out briefly.
Did it really? Did it cut out? So, yeah, 70s, early 80s were a time of really high inflation. If we look at super high interest rates. Let me see if I can find a longer term inflation graph.
You think a lot of that was due to the oil embargo?
Yeah. That's exactly right. I mean, there were a lot of catalysts. See, this chart doesn't go back. I'm trying to find a chart that actually shows it. We need like a 50-year graph.
That was Carter, right? I mean, under that administration?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it now.
I'm just trying to get my facts straight.
Yeah, the last time we had like over 10% inflation. See, I don't even know if I believe this graph, though. It depends on what inflation metric they're going by. Yeah, it was Nixon and Carter.
Okay.
So NASDAQ under the previous close. So we are now under the previous closing price. We're at 2534. Yeah, Amazon's still pushing up. We have 8 minutes left, chat. 8 minutes until the data releases. What do you guys think the data is going to show up as? Are you bullish or bearish on this report? We have 8 minutes left. Yeah, I think I'm also going to go with like a more minimalist. I'm going to go with a more minimalist thing here. I have all these banners up. I think they're just kind of blocking things. I think most people would prefer the minimalist look versus before. I'll keep the chart ups on the top. I'll probably use the green screen a lot more, and then I'll use a timer like this on the bottom. I think that just makes more sense. Fake numbers, somebody says 0.75% growth. Neutral on this report. Bear. Yeah, 7 minutes, guys. 7 minutes. As expected.
Also, I'm curious where everybody's coming from today.
Where are you guys from? Yeah, Hassett is speaking right now. Hassett said he still sees 4 to 5% economic growth this year despite the war. He says he expects the Warsh hearing to go ahead next week. He said the Iran-U.S. talks are not meaningless. So Hassett is speaking right now. So a senior Iranian sources says that under the ceasefire agreement, Iran will allow no more than 15 ships per day through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, again, generally they allow, I think it's like 100 to 120 ships. They're saying during the ceasefire, they will allow no more than 15 ships per day through the Strait of Hormuz. And that news just came out. So that is going on right now. Again, they think under the ceasefire agreement, they're not going to allow more than 15 ships per day through the Strait of Hormuz, apparently. So I'm trying to catch back on everybody saying New Mexico, San Diego, Romania, California, India, North Carolina, but living in the Philippines, Canada, New York, MA, Dayton, Ohio. Sam's from Italy, Manchester, Seoul, Lexington, Mexico, Australia, India, Australia. Yeah, I'm not saying I agree with this data here. I'm not saying I agree with this data. Or I'm not even... Yeah, look. I could look up how many ships normally pass through the strait. Like in normal conditions. Yeah, 130 to 150 ships per day. Including oil tankers, you know. So 15 ships would essentially be 10% of the normal flow through the strait. It's still better than nothing. Yeah, 100%. It's better than nothing. But yeah, it's 10% of the normal flow.
You'll know where I'm at already. I don't know where you are, Polaris, but if you don't want to share, that's fine.
He's from Italy. Sam's from Italy.
Oh, okay.
And we also have NATO's Security General Rutte briefed capitals that Trump wants concrete commitments within days to help secure the Strait of Hormuz, according to diplomats. So here we go, guys. The data is dropping in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Everybody hit the live button next to the play button. Ooh, I didn't even know my timer changed colors as we get close to the data here. Look at that. Look at freaking AI, dude. Shout out to AI, bro. It's doing things I didn't even ask it to do.
That starts off as a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. That's good at first, right? As long as they don't get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure it's going to be cutting my lawn without asking me, you know? It's just going to do it.
It'd be like, what was that movie? The one where all the machines came to life. Something Overdrive.
The Brave Little Toaster? You know, no, I'm just joking.
No. The one with Emilio Estevez, where like all the trucks came alive and like the blenders and stuff.
Emilio Estevez. I don't know if I saw whatever one you're talking about. You're talking about the coach from the Mighty Duck.
Maximum Overdrive. That's right.
Oh, I never saw it.
Thanks, Hanson.
All right, guys. 4 minutes before the data comes out. 4 minutes here. Yeah, Emilio Estevez will always be the coach of the Mighty Ducks to me. You know.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate the sentiment. It's nice to make your acquaintance as well.
Yeah. If someone live streamed the Strait of Hormuz every day, there'd be 10,000 people watching it. That's a business idea, bro. Set that up. You know, I choose you to go there. All right, guys, we got 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. Let's see what this data shows here. GDP and PCE inflation data goes live in 3 minutes here. Guys, 3 minutes. Just to give you guys the expectations real quick. We'll give you guys the expectations here. Expectations for this today. We can look at Market Watch. The expectations for this today. PCE expected at 0.4%. Core PCE is the big one. It's also expected at 0.4%. Year-over-year data expected at 3% for PCE core. Headline PCE year-over-year is expected at 2.8%. But the big ones, guys, is going to be core PCE year-over-year and core PCE month-over-month. 0.4% and 3% expected. GDP second revision, final estimate, 0.7%. It showed up at 0.7% last time. This is for Q4 data. Jobless claims expected at 210,000. Jobless claims, 210,000 for jobless claims. That is an uptick of 8,000 from the previous metric here, guys. So we have less than 3 minutes here, chat. We have less than 3 minutes. We're going to put it in sub-only mode. Everybody, oh wait, we're already in sub-only mode. No? I didn't select it, but I guess we're already in it. Okay. Yeah, we'll see what this data shows here, guys. 2 minutes left. 2 minutes before the data releases here. Let's see Bitcoin. Here's Bitcoin. I'm going to put up Bitcoin and maybe the NASDAQ or the S&P for this report. So here's oil. Okay, there's Bitcoin. And then here is the NASDAQ. Let's see what kind of reaction we get here. But the data's about to come out. Bitcoin actually just popped up too. All right, guys, we have a minute and a half left. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, bull or bear, let me know in chat right now. Bull or bear showing this report. We got about 1,500 people here right now. We have a little bit over a minute left. Let's see what we get today. It's a big day here for this report. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you put it in 2x speed as well today, guys. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. Bearish on PCE and GDP is going to be meh. I don't know. I think in the context of everything going on right now, it should be interesting. It should be interesting. Again, Iran's demands include unfreezing of Iranian assets by the Americans within 2 weeks, according to a senior Iranian official, apparently. Also, we have jobless claims numbers. This is a more real-time look at jobs. Week-to-week unemployment filings. So we have this coming out today at the same time as well here. But here we go, guys. A lot of different reports release in about 30 seconds. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll make sure you're really caught up to the stream here. And here we go. I have data coming out. So again, here's the data right now in 20 seconds, guys. 20 seconds. PCE inflation expected at 0.4% for core PCE. Year over year is expected at 3%. 10 seconds, guys. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the reports right now. Okay, guys, so jobless claims ended up showing noticeably higher than expected at 219 versus 210,000 expected. GDP showed weaker at 0.5%. GDP 0.5%. PCE was completely flat everywhere. Completely flat everywhere. This is a bad bundle of reports, I think. We had weaker GDP. We had higher jobless claims numbers. So more people filing for unemployment at 219 versus 210. 219 versus 210. GDP showed up at 0.5% for Q4 versus 0.7% previously. So weakening signs of GDP, again, 0.5% versus 0.7% previously. Higher unemployment filings at 219 versus 210,000. They also revised the previous initial jobless claims numbers up. So more unemployment filings last time, more unemployment filings this time at 219 versus 210 expected. Again, PCE was essentially flat everywhere. It was 0.4% for core, 3% on the year for core, exactly as expected today. But the data is out. And it was not necessarily a good report, I think, here. So if we look at the NASDAQ should react negatively to this report. It showed weaker jobs, higher unemployment claims, GDP was weaker than expected, and PCE was basically flat. And this is all heading into, tomorrow's CPI report. But this report was not good, honestly. It was not really good. Q4 GDP was weaker than expected. PCE was flat, and jobless claims upticked as well. So again, 2.8 versus 2.8. Everything else was flat though. So jobless claims 219 versus 209,000 expected here. 219 versus 209,000 expected. I love you, dude. Here, have a day. I love you, buddy. Have a good day, dude. I love you. Have a good day. But yeah, 219 versus 209 jobless claims numbers. We'll put this data up on screen here. But yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. PCE flat, jobless claims high. More people filing for unemployment. And again, GDP was weaker than expected. Personal income was negative 0.1% versus 0.3% expected as well. So a lot of this data was not good, I would say. I assume the market's going to react negative here. But yeah, GDP was weak as well. GDP showed up at 0.5%. Versus expected 0.7. Previously was 4.4% for the previous quarter. We'll put this data up on screen. But man, not necessarily good here. John, why you got to ruin my morning with your bad news, bro? I know, listen, man, that's what I'm here for, guys. Again, 0.5% versus expected 0.7. Weaker GDP, higher unemployment claims, weaker jobs, and flat inflation data is what today's data showed. Again, so not good, guys. It's not good data. Weak jobs. Again, I'm sure yields are going to be going down on this report. So maybe you could argue that is good. Let's take a look at yields and see the short-term yield impact of this report here. So we're going to take a look at yields, see the short-term yield impact. Honestly, yields are kind of up from this report. Maybe the inflation data still scaring people. Let me refresh. These are 2-year yields, which kind of follow Fed decisions a little bit more closely. But yields are actually up from this report, which is interesting. Here's Treasury yields. 3.78% for 2-year, 10-year. Let me fix this. 10-year yields probably doing the same thing. Yeah, yields are higher on this report, which is interesting enough. Look, here's 10-year Treasury yields. Markets are interpreting this as hawkish. Yeah, again, tired of winning. Is this bad, guys? Is this bad? Let me know. Markets reacted negatively, as it probably should have. I mean, weaker jobs, weaker jobs, and weaker GDP data.
So what does that pretend to you? And also, do these numbers get a revision
What is it?
at
What?
any point?
What did you just say?
Pretend.
Give me an easier
Pretend.
word. What does that mean?
I'm trying to think how to put this.
Don't worry, just give me a different word.
It just means what do you think will be the effect of this? Like,
okay. Yeah, I'm vetoing that word. Never ever use that word again.
you just got to learn the word.
No, just joking. I think it means weaker jobs. It means weaker jobs, weaker GDP for last year. So it wasn't negative. So again, anybody saying that we're in a recession right now, not true. You know why it's not true? Because last quarter's GDP was not negative. And we need 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. So number one, we're not in a recession, although GDP was weaker than expected, weaker than the previous number as well. And this is the final GDP number for quarter 4. So this quarter 4 GDP is going to be around 0.5%. Yeah. No, everybody knows there's some words that you just don't know. I've never heard that word used before, so I got to be honest.
And no, I'm using the correct word. It's I meant to say portend, not pertain. It's a completely different word.
Yeah. Medieval words. No, I know some of you guys in chat were like, y'all might act like you knew, but come on now. Yeah, anyways, we'll see what happens here, guys. We're at 25,027 on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is reacting negatively. It did push the market back down. Are we in a recession? Does anybody still believe we're in a recession? Bad jobs numbers used to be a Goldilocks situation for markets. Yeah, I mean, we had weaker GDP, weaker jobs. So, weaker economic data. I don't know why my timer just restarted, bro. Hold on. Let me bad timer here. Bad timer. Let's fix it. Yeah, bad timer. Yes, we are heading into a recession. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I really don't know. Are we headed towards a recession? We could be headed towards a recession, but not necessarily in one, so to speak. So we could be heading towards one, but not be in one, I think is the thing here. Again, guys, you want to help support the channel, check out Lucid. Lucid, I got a payout. They processed it in like 4 minutes for this payout. NASDAQ's starting to head back up here. But if you want to check out Lucid, again, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. Most day traders lose money. Limit your risk with something like this. In the futures market, there's no PDT rule. They give you a demo. They test your skill. With the demo account first, you pass the test. They fund you. You fail, you only lose the challenge fee. Lucid has great options. They fund people very quickly. You can go direct to fund it as well on Lucid, and it's probably the cheapest in the game. And so if you want to check them out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel, although it is an affiliate link. The market is now pushing up here. The market is now pushing up. I'm trying to find the breaking news that might be explaining this here. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move with this data. But again, core inflation was 3% in February as expected. GDP fell from 4.4% in quarter 3 to 0.5% in quarter 4, 2025, well below the initial expected 2.8% growth. And so what we see is as expected inflation and weaker GDP data is what we see here. So weaker than expected GDP as expected inflation data. So it could be worse, but a lot of people are going to say maybe that's what the market wants, is weaker GDP. Weaker GDP, higher unemployment claims, weaker jobs could cause markets to react positively because it increases the odds of rate cuts this year, potentially. So is anybody interested in buying this right now? Here's the NASDAQ. And here's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin wants easing. So this might, I would assume this, like Bitcoin and crypto wants this. You know, we'll see. Yeah, so Bitcoin and them wants this. Is this bull or bearish, guys? Is this bull or bearish? All right, guys.
I don't know. But what I do know is that the ticker running across the bottom of your screen is called a Chiron.
A Chiron? Man.
Yeah.
Brit with these words, man.
And for anybody, if I ever use a word and I have trouble giving you the actual definition, it's because I don't, like go read a dictionary. I'm a contextual learner. Like, it's just through reading.
So am I. Yeah, I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple trader here. You know, you can nickname me Simple John, and I'll accept that. You know.
Any relation to Simple Jack?
Yeah, that's my cousin right there. You know. That's me. Hey, listen, Simple John. I'm sure the chat would agree. Listen, the chat might agree to that. That's okay. That's all right, chat. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you agreeing, guys. I'm not disagreeing with you agreeing. I'm a simple kind of man. My mama told me a long time ago, I was her only son. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's see what we get today. Yeah, here, hold it down, Brit. Talk. I'm trying to get a new banner put up here.
Okay. Only use words you can explain. I mean, if I only used words I could explain, I wouldn't talk at all.
Right. Simple brick.
Don't put such a burden on me. It's not fair.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Personal spending should have been 0.4 versus expected 0.5, so even that was a little bit lower. Jobless claims again, 200K versus 209. They also revised the previous one.
From what?
Yeah, month over month. Month over month. They revised it up some. I can't remember what it showed last time, but I'll have to go check. I'm trying to get these PCE readings up here. Hold on. And again, jobless claims was not good either. There we go.
Wrong. It's a ticker, a Chiron stationer. Stop taking me to task over stuff. Leave me alone.
Yell at Brit, guys. Yell at Brit. Do it now.
I'm gonna cry if you do, though. I mean,
you're crying right now. I know it. You're crying right now. You're just hiding it.
Yep, just silent tears streaming down my face. You're right.
As soon as the chat said your words were like medieval words,
Well, I mean,
that's when it started.
To be fair, I think, I mean, it might be, but I think most words go back like a really long way, like to the beginning. Some of them even.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever heard medieval talk, but we probably wouldn't understand if we went back to the to medieval times. Not the restaurant.
You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand anything.
Right, 100%. No, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that nobody would understand anything. They spoke so differently back then. All right, so wait, real quick. Trump just posted the Truth Social. So Trump just posted the Truth Social. That is what's popping markets right now, and this is what it says. It says, none of these people, including our own, very disappointing, NATO, understood anything unless they have pressure placed upon them. What is this? Look, this is the tweet. I'm really having a hard time understanding what he's trying to say here. He's saying nobody understands anything, but this is the tweet right here. The problem is none of these people, none of these people, including our very own, Very disappointing. There's too many commas here. NATO understood anything unless they have pressure placed upon them. So he needs to, look, I agree with some of the stuff he does. I disagree with others, right? I'm going to preface this comment with that understanding. He's using too many commas here. You know, like just make multiple sentences, brother. Everything doesn't need to be one sentence. You know, you don't need to throw everything in there in the context of commas. NASDAQ is reacting positively to this. So the NASDAQ is reacting positively to this. And we'll see if it continues, but it did pop up a little bit higher here.
Yeah, he speaks in fragmented sentences. It is annoying.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Yeah, jobless claims did show up a little bit higher than expected. PCE data you can see on the bottom of the screen now. And again, like the comments in the chat, like sometimes people get so wrapped up in this stuff that like if I don't disagree with every single thing he does, they hate me. If I don't agree with every single thing he does, they hate me, right? And again, that's probably the nature of the internet here. And I think it kind of shows the disconnect. Most people are somewhere in the middle, guys. Realistically, most people are somewhere in the middle. If you get to a point where you're just blindly disagreeing or agreeing with anybody, you know, I got some timeshares I want to sell you. NASDAQ down to 25,042. Iran's deputy foreign minister says U.S. must stop the attacks on Lebanon on Fars News. They said Iran was on the verge of responding to the ceasefire violation last night, but Pakistan intervened. They said any peace in the region must include Lebanon. The coming hours are very critical. Very critical. He says our delegation will head to peace talks in Islamabad, according to Fars News. And again, the president did just tweet saying none of these people, including our very own, very disappointing NATO, understood anything unless they have pressure placed upon them. So, yeah.
Someone says, sorry, there's no one that sits in the middle. I mean, it's very hard to truly be in the middle. I mean, that's kind of the point. You should attempt objectivity when you can. I mean, I try to. I don't always succeed. But the point is to try.
Yeah, I try to be open-minded about things. And there's most people, with the previous president, with this president, with different politicians, like most people, I agree with some of the stuff they say, and I disagree with others. And if you pretend like you agree 100% with anybody, or that you disagree 100% with anybody, again, I think you're either desperate to fit in or you're dumb, right? That's the reality of it. You know, now maybe right now you could argue one side of that a little bit more cleanly. I'm not saying that's true, but the reality of it is most people are somewhere in the middle, and most people agree with certain things and disagree with others. It's the political
game. For instance, I agree with what you just said.
Yeah, that's right. You should agree with me. You know,
but yeah, I do get I mean, it's a difficult needle to thread, but objectivity should be the goal.
Yeah. All right, guys. So again, NASDAQ is holding over the previous closing price. You know, NASDAQ is sitting at 25,040s. GDP data did show up weaker than expected. Jobless claims did show up higher than expected. And now we are sitting really right at the previous closing price. Yeah, I dislike all politicians. If you want me to be real, I dislike all politicians. I don't like any of them. I don't trust any of them. And I think when you get to the very top, they're all the same they're all on the same side anyway. You just think they are.
Well, the higher you get, the less genuine usually they turn out to be.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
You don't get that high without schmoozing and
being
maybe
sketchy.
Changing your positions on a few things.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. So NASDAQ is up to 2539s here. Trying to hold the green. Yeah, so in other news that Iran was on the verge of responding to the ceasefire violation last night, so they were gonna strike back essentially, but Pakistan intervened. And Pakistan has been one of the main ones that's dealing with the negotiations as well. You know, when this conflict just got started, the president said we've had direct and indirect talks with Iran. Iran came out on the other end saying, nah, that's not happening. It came out that we were having indirect talks through Pakistan and another. And so they have been kind of a mediator in this whole thing. And hopefully, you know, we're going to see an end of it. Hopefully they can come to some agreement regarding Lebanon, because that's kind of the big issue here. Look at the market start to fall. So the market is starting to dip down. It's at 25.30s here, guys. 25.30s. Yeah. Yeah, so again, will the ceasefire break? GDP has weakened. Jobless claims increase. NASDAQ is coming down. I'm trying to see if I got any breaking news on this. Here, let's see. You know, I actually smoked a cigar. I don't see a point in it, to be honest. You know,
I tried them, and I dislike them very much.
I was at a crawfish boil, and they pulled out some cigars, and they were like, "Hey, John, you want one?" And I was just kind of like, I was hanging out with the guys, and so I was just like, "Sure, like, give me that cigar." You know, I didn't even know how to use it. I'm like, "Hey, do I inhale on this cigar?" And they were like, "No." And so then I'm just kind of sitting there like, "Okay, well, then what's the point of this thing? I look cool doing it." You know, like, aside for looking cool, the real issue is, like, aside from looking cool, what's the point of paying for, like, a really expensive cigar? You know?
Nothing. And I actually worked at a cigar shop, and so I had a lot of people, or several people, that were very knowledgeable about them, and, you know, turned me, I'm like, "Oh, try this one. It's mild. It's great for beginners. It didn't have a long burn," that kind of thing, you know? Good quality for the price. And it didn't matter, like, how mild it was, how short the burn was. I don't like them. I love them before they're lit, because I think they smell great, but they do not smell great once they're lit.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a big fan of it. I mean, I looked cool for about 5 minutes. After a certain point, I got tired of it. I'm like, all right, let me get rid of this thing. But then it's still got like 3/4 of the way left, and I'm just kind of like, dude, how long is this gonna last here? You know?
That's what I'm saying. You basically got to sit there for like an hour and a half smoking the cigar.
Right. If I was in the mob, I'd smoke cigars. You know, because then it's just kind of like, you know. But outside of that, I'm not doing
Also,
it.
John, you always look cool. Don't worry.
I know, dude. Listen, one of my little cousins was like, you know what? We could sit here. He said the word aura farming. And apparently I'm just getting old here. I'm getting old. My daughter was trying to tell me some of the new modern slang yesterday. And as her father, it's my job to make fun of it. But it was something about, y'all can, listen, it's something about you, it's your birthday, you, the candles, or something. I don't even know what she was saying. I still don't know what she was saying. Yeah, I don't even know. Chat, I know we got some young people here. All right.
Yeah, fill us in. Is there like some birthday candle slang that we don't know about?
I don't know, man. She was genuinely trying. I didn't get it. Oh, I just spilled coffee. I didn't get it.
Oh, no.
I deserve to spill coffee. You the birthday. That's right. That's what it was. It was you the birthday.
What does that mean? Can somebody tell me?
Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. All right, so I did get some news just dropping that the Israeli military issues evacuation warnings for Beirut's southern suburbs ahead of possible attack, according to a statement. The Iran's deputy foreign minister stated that Iran almost responded to a ceasefire breach last night, but again, Pakistan stepped in. The president tweeted, "Markets are just waiting on the next news report." As a dad, you should speak teenager fluently, John. I mean, I believe I do. But the problem is that it changes so much. It changes so much.
It does. And in an increasingly digital world, it changes faster and faster.
Yeah.
Happy 27th birthday, John. What?
He's right. It is my 27th birthday today. You know? Yeah, again, GDP data is out. Weaker than expected GDP. What do you guys think quarter one GDP for this year is going to be? Again, it includes March. So what do you guys think quarter one GDP is going to look like?
I don't know. I don't know. Bad, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know here. Yeah, get off my lawn, guys. Like I said.
Stereotypical old guy.
Negative 0.7? I don't know. Negative 0.7. Yeah, I mean, I don't freaking know, guys. Again, Iran's deputy foreign minister stated that Iran almost responded to the ceasefire breach last night, but Pakistan stepped in. I mean, So they stopped a respond. If they would have responded, it would have been, the ceasefire would basically be over. The NASDAQ is starting to go down. I'm looking at the 17 and 15 level right here. I want to see if these levels hold, but we'll see. How do you feel turning 27? You know, I feel like the prime of my life, you know, right now. You know, it's really hard being a 27-year-old in this life, you know.
It's really hard being a 27-year-old when you're not 27.
Shh, Britt. Let him believe. Let him believe it. You know.
Paul Felder wins your next fight. Apparently, you look like Paul Felder now.
Yeah, that's all right. GDP in the toilet. Yeah. Yeah, apparently that's what you the birthday means, mister.
Wait, it means what? I didn't hear the explanation.
Hold on. All right, guys. NASDAQ started to come back down. Should I buy this? I think I'm going to buy it. Now, remember, I took a withdrawal on this account already here. So I took a withdrawal on this account. Sorry, I'm kind of in my charts right now. I took a withdrawal on this account already. And then in this account that I have here, it's a challenge account. I think I'm just going to start to scale into this. If I make another $450, I get funded on this one too. But I'm going to trade my funded account today. Don't get me wrong. But right now, we're going to trade this one. Let's see what we get. I will buy down here to the 200 exponential here and just kind of keep adding to this and take the risk. It's a Apex account. And remember, Apex is 90% off sale, ends tomorrow. Coupon code BGT at checkout, guys. BGT at checkout gets you the max discount. You, the birthday, according to my daughter, means you're the center of attention. Like, kind of like you're, you are the main character in Gen Z talk, you know?
Yeah, Nomadic Trades put it really well. It just suggests you're the guest of honor, basically.
Yeah, well, it just means you're, but it also could be negative, maybe, like you're desperate for attention, I think. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't really understand it when my daughter explained it to me. I think it can have a negative connotation as well. Look, I'm not hip, guys. I'm not hip, you know?
One phrase I never learned was hold my beer. Basically, that just means, oh, yeah, well, watch this.
Watch this. I'm about to do something crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Is what that means. All right, guys, so we are green here. I'm going to add a little bit more. I might have added deeper down here if we would have gotten a little bit farther down. I still might add it 25/18s. Yeah, I get it. I just don't like it, bro. I get it. I get it as well. I'm right there with you, dude. Again, interest rates should be lower according to Treasury Secretary Bessent. But again, Israeli military issued an evacuation warning for Beirut southern suburbs ahead of an attack potentially here. Very rangy market, though. I'm going to look for range breakouts today. But of course, this is a news-driven market, guys. It is a news-driven market. Markets are moving. I know UNC used to be good. Now it's bad, apparently. Now I'm an UNC and it's not a good thing. And I don't appreciate it. You know?
I'm going to keep using it like it's a good thing.
Right. It used to be good. Like, what? Like 3 months ago it was good. Now it's bad, apparently. Freaking young people, man. Can't believe you guys switching up on us.
No problem, Pay.
Yeah, I can't do that actually either. I can't do it. I refuse to do it.
What
I really
can't you do?
understand. There's a communication pattern where, you know how we used to say, hey, I am gonna give you $1,000, and then you would respond with, really? You know, question mark.
Mm-hmm.
They basically replaced really with actually. And so, hey, I'm gonna give you $1,000. Actually, that's the younger, hipper.
Annoying.
You know, yeah, I don't like it either. You know, to be honest, I refuse to use it.
Me too.
I boycott it, basically. I'm not doing it. All right, so I'm going to add more to this, I think, and just take the risk. There we go. Looks like that might have worked. There we go. I'll take a quarter of this off. Maybe a little bit more. We'll hold half of this position left, see if it continues to go in my favor. Fire was used by my generation. Okay.
I still use it. It's a very good indicator, a very good indicator of your age.
So was dope. Like, hey, that's a dope book you got there, right? Like, dope was our slang. Really, it was. If you want to be really serious about it, it was probably 80s that late 80s, early 90s that did dope.
Word.
Word was definitely our generation too.
Yeah, and a little bit older.
Yeah, for sure.
The one that gets me is drip. I don't appreciate that. I understand swag, short for swagger, but drip just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, but that's just because swag was popular in the mid 2000s when you and I were, like,
well,
drip is the new swag. It's the same thing, right? I don't use drip either, but
I know, but at least swag actually is like short for swagger. It's a real word.
Right. So just some breaking news. Hormuz still blocked as Iran asserts control. Ship traffic through the strait remains largely frozen despite a fragile U.S.-Iran ceasefire. Only a handful of Iran-linked vessels are moving. They say, it's about 10 to 15 ships. The maximum Iran is going to allow through the Strait of Hormuz is about 10 to 15 ships daily. Average is 100 to 150. So this is literally 10% of normal flow through the Strait of Hormuz. Oil, if we take a look at it, is right around $100 a barrel here. And this was much higher. After the ceasefire was announced, it dipped all the way down to $100 a barrel. Now it's all the way back up to almost $100 a barrel now. And I'm in this trade right now. We'll see if it holds. But
when I hear word, I see Jim Carrey doing Vanilla Ice. I just watched that sketch the other day. That was so funny.
Took me a long time to understand what Riz means. Yeah, I mean, I've got a 16-year-old. And so, like I said, number one, I'm not actually 27. Number two is Riz is a shortened form of charisma. The more you know, the more you know.
Oh, I thought it was like Rizzle Dizzle, Razzle Dazzle. Like
it should be.
Thing.
Yeah. We should have never told him. All right, look at this. Something just happened here. I'm going to start taking profit. Look at this big pop. Oh, this is a 9 a.m. pop here. So it's benefiting me really well. I only need a couple $100 to get funded on this one. I'm just going to add back size, see if we continue higher here. But the 9 a.m. opening bell order flow just went through. It is now 9 o'clock in the morning. Order flow is going through. Market popped up. I was long in a trade. It's good. We are now green on that trade. I'll hold the rest break even or so and see what happens here. But
I think we should play like action-y montage music when you're trading, like just to jazz it up.
That's kind of what's going on right now. I don't know if you hear the music, but
yeah, well, I can't actually hear the music. I have to keep the stream muted, otherwise I get double audio. But is it like cool, like montage type music, like Life in the Fast Lane, the Eagles?
Yeah, I would say it's more like Jason Bourne. Hold on, okay. Market's starting to come down. It's cool enough, right? How cool is my music? Chat, give me a number 1 through 10. Nasdaq's trying to get higher here. I'll probably cut this break even. I want it to bounce. I'll give it a little time to bounce. But yeah, we're cutting it. Yeah, we're out.
I'm just gonna say, no matter how cool y'all think his music is, mine would be better.
I expect them to give me a low answer anyway here, to be honest, just because that's the chat. Intel and Google announced a long-term partnership to improve AI infrastructure using Xeon CPUs and custom IPUs. So a deal between Intel and Google was just announced here. Let's take a look at Intel. Oh, apparently I spilled coffee on my keyboard.
Why did you do that?
I don't know, dude. It's got kind of deep in there too. Crap.
Uh-oh. And yeah, Carlos, I was thinking like Rocky type montage music as well, specifically Rocky 4.
Yeah, look at Intel on this Google News. It has popped up significantly here. It's at 5960s right now, 5960s. It's trying to hold. That is a very strange comment, Real Cryptomania. Hey guys, keep the music. Keep the same music. Your music is awesome. The volume is good. We can hear your voice. And life is the greatest ever. And it is just the greatest. I feel like a dog said that. Just like a dog. That sounds like a dog. You know?
Sounded kind of manic.
I know, it really did. But I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliments regarding the music, sir.
Yeah.
The opening bell's not here yet. We got 27 minutes left until the open.
It was a Rocky reference.
Yeah, that's a golden retriever talking right now. Intel, again, wins a commitment to use Xeon chips in data centers with Intel. So Google and Intel deal announced. Intel's up. I wonder if Google's responding well to this. No, not really. Google's not really moving at all. NVIDIA, again, back down to 181s here. All right, there we go. Yeah, the market's very flat right now, though. It's just not moving much. Oil? Yeah, let's take a look at oil. Oh, my goodness. I typed something here. Oil is just popping over $100 a barrel. So oil is over 100, guys. It is now at 101s almost, or 100.2s.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so oil's popping up. Nasdaq's falling down some here. OpenAI predicts advertising revenues will reach $102 billion by 2030.
Wow.
But look at oil rise. And if we continue to see the current dynamic, markets have been falling down as oil rises here. So we've kind of had an inverse correlation between oil, and the Nasdaq. I don't know if that dynamic is going to continue, but we'll see. As of now, we're seeing oil just dip back below $100 a barrel. Here's the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is very, very choppy right now, although we are seeing some strength in the NQ. We are bouncing a little bit higher here. If we go up a little bit more, I might buy it again. We made a significant amount here, and so we'll see if that increase continues here. We are over 25,000 now, again, on the Nasdaq, and I do think that's a big psychological level. That's definitely what I'm going to be watching at the opening bell here, is 25,000. My coupon code is BGT for whatever prop firm you want to use. So that includes Take Profit, Lucid, Apex, and Tradeify. Tradeify's got great direct-to-funding options as well, so check out Tradeify also, guys. Like, they got some good stuff there. Tradeify 3.0 is really nice. It's really nice. But we did just stay green on the day. I don't see anything really driving this except for maybe a rebound in some tech here. We see Paramount Skydance Corp reduce bridge facility commitment to $49 billion. But I don't see any other real breaking news here. Could be Amazon. Amazon pushed up to 225s. CoreWeave kind of gave a lot of it back. I mean, CoreWeave announced an offering, which means that they're going to have more money, but they're also diluting their stock for CRWV. And so Meta's up a lot. It's at 620s, but even it's kind of giving some back. NVIDIA's starting to rebound back up a little bit higher here as well, but the market's really choppy. I am watching this specific range. So I am watching this range here to see if markets hold over or under it. Here's the range. So again, we'll see what happens, but kind of a sideways looking range right now. Let's see if we hold. Did my music stop? I think it did. Thursday usually crashes. Yeah, CPI report's the biggest report of the week for sure. So we'll see what this looks like, but we're down to 25.37s here, 25.37s. Does the market hold today, guys? Does the market hold? GDP came out weaker than expected, and jobless claims showed up weaker than expected. Everything kind of showed weakness, I would say, in the labor market. Inflation was flat. So, yeah, inflation was flat month to month as well as versus expected numbers. But we're looking at this range here. See, we're still at that previous closing price. I just don't trust this market. So we did a poll this morning. Does the ceasefire hold 70-30 basically in terms of votes? We're at 70-30 right now in terms of voting numbers. What strategies are you guys looking for the opening? But what strategies do you guys trade at the open here? Starting to dip down.
What are some of your favorite strategies?
I like the volume profile. I use a mix of everything. So like if we look at, here's a volume profile chart. Here's a level we could watch, 25-30. But I look at volume profile. I look at ranges. I look at 200 exponential and volume weighted average price, and I look at milestone levels. So a milestone level I see on the chart right now is 25.50 right there. So it's a terrible line. Let me draw it on the actual chart. 25.50, I think here has been confirmed numerous different times. And so if we get over this, maybe we'll have some buys showing up. I'm looking at also 25.25 here. But I think the biggest level people are going to be paying attention to short term is 25,000 below us right here. Big psychological milestone level.
I was going to say, just because it's a round number.
Yeah, big round number. I think people are going to pay attention to that. Outside of that, I'm just looking for this range to potentially break here, which is a big if. Again, we're basically chopping sideways for now. So we're not really doing anything. We're just kind of chopping sideways in neutral here. We'll see if we hold, but...
And I ran so far away. I love that song, actually. That was a part of the Vice City soundtrack.
Yeah, it was. I started at Future
I was listening.
Grids. Market was
I was listening
down.
to you. Sorry, that just caught my eye.
No, you're good. You're good. Could see the pop for liquidity and then fade, value area, high and lows, point of control, minus development areas. Yeah, I look at the volume profile a lot and use it in unison with other stuff. Up we go today. Yeah, oil. If you're talking about oil, you might be right, but oil went over 100 and then came back down, so it didn't actually hold over $100 here for oil. So oil didn't actually hold over 100. Yeah. Short after 11 a.m. maybe the biggest move happening between 12:30. Potentially here. Potentially. We'll see.
Did you expect oil to hold over 100?
I don't know. It's hard to tell, right? Oil is up a lot. Even including the retracement it made after the ceasefire, it's still up a lot. It's still at $100 a barrel. And
yeah,
so,
I agree.
You know, obviously it just depends on what happens here with this conflict. The more stability, the more harmony, the more optimism we have for this ceasefire holding, the lower oil should go. And a lot of the times, like with big milestone levels, guys, a lot of the time, I've said this many times, but a lot of the time we go up to these levels, test them, and then immediately come back down, right? People that like to play the break of these levels, very risky thing. Very risky thing. Why? Because I look at big milestone levels like the top of the range. And so I look to attack like a range up to big milestone areas. Like there's 100 or so. I like buying pullbacks and then attacking the range up to these levels versus, you know, trying to somehow buy the break of this and ride the momentum up. I think that's what a lot of new traders end up doing, is attacking like the high, like the break of highs and lows. But I think those are ultimately riskier, less edge.
So you attack a longer range, is what you're saying?
Well, I attack the move to test those levels, so to speak. So like some people attack momentum where we break a big level and then we hold. Where's the volume profile? Where'd it go? Why did it go away? But yeah, some people attack the break of these levels. All right, let's find it back on the chart. Is it making me upgrade to no?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at a.
No, it's fine. Someone earlier said the 80s was the best decade. Honestly, sometimes I tend to agree. I think it was the last decade that had like real style and flair. The music was great. The cars, honestly, not so great. But
80s cars sucked.
uh, huh?
80s cars sucked. Most of them.
Yeah, they did. They totally did. But the music was great. The clothes were great. Had great fashion and flair and style. In my opinion, the last one that really had great style. But more importantly, I think it was like the best mix of modernity and a little bit more old school. Like we had enough technology, but people still spent time together. People weren't, just absorbed in their own little worlds as much.
Yeah.
I think I might be wrong. Just
I don't know. I never
opinion.
spent time in the 80s. I was born after the 80s, so I I always hated the 80s growing up. I was like, ugh. But as I got older, I can appreciate the music. Great music from the 80s.
Oh yeah.
So we're getting towards that top of the range on the NASDAQ here. But we are still sideways. We got 18 minutes left, chat. 18 minutes left. Yeah, great movies, great music.
Absolutely. John Hughes ruled the 80s.
Yeah.
And just my opinion, I think Back to the Future. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the poll is showing 70% of people say no, the ceasefire does not hold. So heading into the opening bell in about 15 minutes here, it still shows some skepticism. I'm wondering if we're going to start to see that skepticism break out. I wonder if we're going to start to see that skepticism break out at the opening bell here. Are you guys bullish or bearish for the opening bell? Let me know. Yeah. Bearish. Bear. Bearish, bear. Sell at the open. See, a lot of people are bearish for the open, but I think it's possible we get a sell-off too. It just depends on whether you think the ceasefire is going to hold. Yeah, the 80s, again, they grew on me as I got older. I never was, like I said, I never experienced them.
I didn't live in it either, but like most of the people I hung out with growing up did, and so I kind of experienced it secondhand, if that makes sense. And plus, I just kind of learned a lot about them. I appreciate the 80s quite a bit. I'm not bad. Like, the 90s, someone says better music, better technology. It depends on the mood you're in. I love the music from the 90s too. And yeah, technology obviously gets better. I mean, grows exponentially over time. But there's no way the 90s had better clothes than the 80s. The fashion in the 80s was peak, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And also, just throwing this out there, I think Back to the Future is the best trilogy ever made.
I gotta agree with you there, to be honest. Bull at the open, then back down. No, I agree. I love Back to the Future, bro. Back to the Future is great. Okay. I like the second one more than the third one. The third one just seemed like Back to the Future Western, but I liked it a lot.
I like the third better than the second.
Yeah. I don't know. I disagree, but that's okay. All right, so a lot of bears. A lot of bears at the opening bell here. NASDAQ, with that said, though, is starting to creep up here. I'm watching 2550. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, actually, I don't know. I'm actually more of a Lord of the Rings guy than the Back to the Future. The Lord of the Rings are generally longer, though, and so they're a little bit more intimidating of a watch, so to speak. I've seen them so many times. But it's more of a time commitment to watch all the Lord of the Rings versus all the Back to the Future movies. Bear to the Future?
I love Lord of the Rings, but Back to the Future just has more nostalgia for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, so look, we went up and tapped 2550, exactly where we were talking about here. We tapped literally 2550, and now we're starting to come back down. Now we started to come back down. Let's see if this holds. But here is another area. The music sucks now? It's just lo-fi right now.
I wouldn't say the music sucks now. I mean, you still have a lot of holdovers from, the 2000s. I think that are still out there putting out good music. And not that there's not some new artists putting out good stuff too. But I feel like it just gets churned out more now, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. Yeah, the music's not as good now, but that's probably just bias as well.
I don't know.
Anyways, we're at 2540s here, 2540s. We have 13 minutes left until the market opens, guys. 13 minutes left.
I'm never going back to the 80s. Nobody's going back to the 80s. Time travel isn't real.
Yeah, I'm looking at 100 for oil. Oil is back underneath it for now. Let's see if it holds. Again, a lot of the worries about the ceasefire falling apart are here. You know, so there's worry about the ceasefire holding, and you know, a lot of stuff has come out recently about all this stuff. So as we head into the opening bell, we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. Again, PCE data did show up flat. So
yeah, I knew what you meant. I was just needling you a little bit. Sorry.
Should I buy oil here prior to the opening bell? I don't know. I think, you know, I know people might disagree with me here, but I think there's a chance that the ceasefire holds. And I get it. Most people might disagree with this. But I think there's a chance it holds. There's a chance. And I think if it does,
short term.
Short term, I think there's a chance that it holds, and then throughout this 2-week period, we get a deeper deal done with them. Now, there's also a decent chance that it doesn't. And again, the elephant in that, the issue in that situation would be the enrichment situation. Like, as well as the Strait of Hormuz. It seems to me like the U.S. is going to bend a little bit in terms of the Strait. Iran start talking about charging tolls and stuff. But the risks here are that, you know, we'll see if the Hormuz Strait goes back to pre-conditions, like pre-conflict conditions here. And I don't know. We'll see. NASDAQ is still very choppy here. We have 10 minutes left until the opening bell. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Lebanon is the big question mark. We have to stop doing strikes on Lebanon, according to them, or the ceasefire is going to be breached. So you're telling me there's a chance? There's definitely a chance. Yeah, biased optimism. Yeah, you might be right. This might be what I want to happen. So confirmation bias is the thing. So that might be true. Maybe it's just what I want to happen. I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll see. We are going to day trade the opening bell live. We did take a payout with Lucid yesterday. So we'll see if we can build up some more cushion there.
Like the third Dumb and Dumber reference since I started coming on here.
Yeah, they use it a lot. The Dumb and Dumber reference we hear. So you're saying there's a chance. I usually hear it at least once a day with something. Look at the NASDAQ start to turn back down here, though. So the NASDAQ is starting to turn back down. We are at 2540s here, 2540s. Yeah, they said Pakistan stopped the responding strikes from Iran to responding to the Lebanon stuff. Again, we'll see what happens.
Isn't Pakistan got them to back off?
Yeah, well, it basically, you know, there were strikes on Lebanon, and Iran was going to respond back, even though we were in the ceasefire, but Pakistan basically talked them into not responding, is what they're saying here. So that's news that we got this morning, you know, a couple minutes ago, like 20, 30 minutes ago. But it's still looking like there is a ceasefire in place, is what it seems like to me. So there is a ceasefire in place. Them not responding back is a good sign. It just depends on if we can, you know, come to agreement there, you know, and then hopefully, again, Vance and the team are set to meet with them tomorrow on Friday. So if those talks go well, there's a chance of a deeper, more, you know, extended ceasefire, ultimately potentially an end to the conflict, if they can hopefully agree on things tomorrow.
I think they'll probably go well. I mean, you know, like him or dislike him, I at least feel like Vance is a measured, calm individual. You know, I don't think he's going to fly off the handle and say anything weird.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The only issue that I have with some of these talks is that they held talks prior to this conflict starting. And there were really like no agreements during these talks. Like they held talks, they couldn't agree on the enrichment thing. They couldn't agree on any of it. And then we ended up, you know, then the conflict started, right? But prior to the conflict started, again, for the previous few weeks prior to it, they did have communications and talks with each other. They just couldn't come to an agreement. And so I'm hoping this time is different. But I'm you know,
optimistic. Hopefully optimistic.
Yeah, I'm hopefully optimistic, but also not blindly optimistic. Like I think there's a chance that the same thing happens and, you know, we can't really find harmony there and it ended up just backtracking.
No, I agree, and yeah, I mean, you're right. We actually, I mean, we've been trying to negotiate for really a year leading up to this conflict, realistically. Um, and naive optimism, can be harmful, but I think hopeful optimism is usually a good thing. I mean, it definitely, I think, leads to a more positive, happier mindset, like day to day.
No, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I always try to tell people, like, I think you get what you put out there. If you're good to people, you get good things back. It's one of the things, like, we get haters here sometimes. And it's like, dude, who's sitting around trying to hate? Like, the same people hating on people will sit there and wonder why their life sucks. And it's because you're putting negativity out into the world, bro. I've never hated on anybody like that ever, dude. It's just not what happy
I mean,
people
it's
do.
not constructive.
Right, it's just not what happy people do. And I think, maybe it means we're in a simulation. I don't know what it means, but I try to be good to people. And I think if you're good to people, you get good stuff back. If you're bad to people, you get bad stuff back,
I agree with you. I try to live by the same overall philosophy, and I think all these people need to stop. Need to stop drinking the haterade.
Yeah, stop it, guys. Stop it. That's what we're saying here. Top 3 least hateful people ever. Where's the economic data? The economic data is right here. It might be, look, like a weatherman. And wait, there we go. In this area right here, scrolling, look at the data right there. PCE price index data. February 2.8%, expected 2.8% as expected, in line. You can see all of it right there. The NASDAQ did reject that 2550 level. We are 7 minutes into the opening bell. We'll see if it holds.
Yeah, I like the idea of you as a weatherman. Yeah, and over here we have a low pressure system moving in.
I'd be the worst, top 3 worst weatherman ever. Nvidia has fallen down. So look at the NASDAQ. Part of this drop is from Nvidia here. Nvidia fell all the way back down under 181s, under the 200 exponential, under the volume weighted average price. And now it's just kind of sitting. Gold? We can take a look at gold. Here's gold.
Yeah, I want to see.
Gold is up to 47.80s here, guys. So gold is green on the day. More uncertainty, maybe. But as of now, NASDAQ is just pretty choppy. I think maybe markets are waiting for the inflation data as well as the, they're waiting for the inflation data as well as maybe the meeting tomorrow to pick a direction here, especially in this news-based market. I don't know. But SanDisk. Yeah, here's the NASDAQ start to rip. Let's see if oil's falling down some as well. Oil's dipping. The market on open data could be out here. Nvidia up to 181s. Tight range of the E-mini. Almost flat line. Yeah, it's so flat here on the NASDAQ. It's just not looking great. Not looking great. Kind of boring, to be honest. So, it is kind of boring. Pull back. Bull or bear time, guys. Let me know. Bull or bear. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Someone earlier said, and I think it might have been Pew, I might be wrong, said that you're getting old when you get excited about new appliances. I guess I'm getting old then. I love new appliances. Specifically, I like kitchen appliances. Like I love getting new air fryers and mixers and things like that. Sous vide, cookers and things like that. What are you a gadget guy, John? Do you like new gadgets?
To a certain extent, but not fully here. Not fully. Like I like new gadgets. Don't get me wrong, but if they complicate my life, I don't want it. And sometimes they're making gadgets like people are trying so hard to make money with certain things that they're making gadgets that there's no freaking need for. Like it's just a waste of time. The NASDAQ did just pop up to 6250s. I like some hardware, like some tech, but not too much of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't overindulge, but
yeah. So we're over 2550s here, guys. So we are over 2550s. I want to see if we bounce here and we hold over this level. It's also one of the areas on the volume profile you might want to watch here as well as this 2550 level. We have 3 minutes until the opening bell. So 3 minutes into the opening bell, the NASDAQ has been in this choppy range essentially all morning. I want to make sure no breaking news is happening right now. I don't think it is. It's not really a big enough news to drive this. Okay, so we have Yemen's Houthi leader saying operation will escalate with possible surprise actions aligned with developments on the ground. Operations follow a planned strategy that accounts for the conflict's potential duration. Lebanon Prime Minister... Yeah, so Lebanon Prime Minister sought Pakistan's support for bringing immediate end to the Lebanon attacks, according to the PM office.
I knew somebody was going to throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah, look, here's oil. Let's see if oil holds. But a lot of people are watching. A lot of people are watching that oil $100 level right here. So this $100 level on oil is going to make a lot of people pay attention to it, just because of the psychological aspect. This is WTI crude. But look at NVIDIA, guys. NVIDIA just had something announced here. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA up to 181s, almost 182s right now. So let's see if we can find out the NVIDIA news. But look at NVIDIA rip here. Something just happened.
Oh, wow.
NVIDIA. So retraced a lot of the gap down that it made. I assume we're going to get some type of news source come out on NVIDIA over the next few minutes. But I don't see anything yet.
And no, earlier I said cookers with a C, like a water circulator.
Yeah, and oil's dipping. NASDAQ's ripping right now. Wow. NASDAQ's flying higher here. Or maybe the NVIDIA move. Look at the NASDAQ. So ahead of the opening bell. Let's see if this holds, but look at the NASDAQ jump here. Yeah, the opening bell is almost here, guys. We have about a minute left. A minute left into the open.
I'm on pins and needles here.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen.
We're moving here, guys. We're moving. But bulls are in control right now. I should have held that long. I only need a couple $100 to get funded on this one, and then again, we're gonna try to get funded on this one, and then we're gonna pivot to our actual funded account that we took a payout on yesterday. So we got time, we got energy. Yeah, so I am reading that Hormuz is still blocked as Iran asserts control. There's a 55% chance traffic normalizes by July 1st. Flow remained far below normal, with Iran reportedly capping transits at 15 vessels a day under the ceasefire. Tankers are waiting or turning back as access requires clearance by the military. And UAE Sultan Al Jaber says the strait is not open. Reopening could take weeks or longer. Again, Kalshi pricing in a roughly 55% chance traffic. Look at the NASDAQ rip here on the opening bell, guys. If that was delayed, hit the live button next to the play button. But look at the NASDAQ pop here. So the NASDAQ is up.
Wow.
And now it's back down here. So a big move at the opening bell. And now we're pushing back down here. We're going to watch everything else. I'm watching NVIDIA here. But a big move at the open for sure. Oil, on the other hand, is probably falling down some. But not as much as you might think for oil. All right,
I have to step away for just a second.
Yeah, all good. NASDAQ's dipping. I'm watching the 65 level. It's too close for me to open. Yeah, it's too close for me to buy, though. I got to wait for my rules here. And NVIDIA is starting to dip down some. So NVIDIA is starting to dip. We are getting some movements. I want to look for news. But so far, a pretty big move at the opening bell relative to where we were prior to this. We're starting to come back down. We'll buy 25.50 if we get there, even if this is a challenge account, so we can trade this after the bell. It's all right. Or before we can break my rules a little bit here on this one. There we go. We're going to take that off. Yes, sir. Take a little bit more off there just to protect and maybe hold this break even now. Yep. Yep. Locking in profits here. See if it holds. I'll hold this break even now. See if it starts to really push. There we go. Yep. Maybe I should
All right, I'm
trade the
back.
open more and break my rules here, but
So what I miss?
you missed it a rebound back up. All right, I'm gonna cut that there. So we made money at the opening bell,
Good.
but it is a little early for me to trade. The variance is high.
I have faith in you, John.
Yeah, no, dude. Listen, I believe that. I believe that. Marvell sitting at 120s here. I might buy this dip again though. Here, let's try it. We'll add to it here and leave it there.
Light just hit 900. What's light? You.
He's talking about WTI crude.
Okay.
Sweet crude, light crude.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna let 50 be my risk level here on this one. And yeah, we're out. Big turnaround though, big redness showing up here. Maybe you could look at 35s. But GDP showed up at 0.5% today versus 0.7% expected. So 0.5 versus 0.7 expected.
So apparently he was talking about lumentum.
Oh, he's talking. Oh, I thought you said. Yeah, I didn't actually see the spelling of it. I thought he was talking about light crude, sweet crude, or whatever. He's talking about LITE, which is different. That's a different thing. Yeah, so we are turning red now. I might buy the point of control here at 30 with small one contract trade and then add to it if it goes in my favor here. Maybe a little bit too late. We're bouncing right here. I might pivot to a short now, actually. Let me add to this here. There we go. Yep. I'm gonna wait till we get deeper and then add to it once I'm a little bit more more into the green.
All right, if you think that's best.
Yeah, there we go. We added a little bit to it. There we go. We can start to liquidate some of this down here. There we go. There we go. Wow. We'll cover the rest break even now. We're out. We got off flat. We made money for sure on that one. But yeah, look at the shorts, man. Shorts gaining control of this. Here's the 200 exponential, so I do want to cover around that level just in case we bounce, is what I'm doing. But if we rebound back higher here, I'll short again. Maybe 37s to 50 up there is going to be my short area. 35s. What do we get to? We got to 36.50. That could have been 37. That was maybe my time right here. We might reject and go back down now. There's 38s. Short here. We add a little bit. Take that off. See if we get another pop back down here. Yep. I'm going to take another piece off there. Yep. And I can hold the rest break even. Might even take a little bit more off here. Hold one and then add to it if it goes in my favor just to reduce risk and give myself the best chance. That zone of shorting worked really well between 37 and 50. We rejected it about like 42 or 43. So far so good with that plan. Again, like I said, we'll hold the rest break even here.
Dumb luck, no offense, maybe a little.
Alright, we're out. We got out just in time, too. So far so good. Look at this big rebound, strong rebound coming through here, though. I think there's a risk that we could be choppy today, though, so just be careful, guys. There's a risk we could be choppy today. And speaking of, this is a great time to do a plug here. Check out Lucid if you haven't already, guys. Most day traders lose money. You fund your own account thousands of dollars, you're probably going to lose. Instead, try Lucid. Great way to limit your risk. Again, I did process a payout with them. They processed it in like 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Like, look, I'll show you guys this. The payout request was received at 4:46 p.m. yesterday. I requested the payout. They processed it. Again, 446, I requested it. They processed it by 447. Literally 1 minute payout. Which is really impressive for Lucid. Check out Lucid. Again, links pinned to the top of the chat. Here's the link right here. Great way to help support the channel. You can use coupon code BGT with all major prop firms. Again, here's the link. Check it out. They are a sponsor affiliate of mine. I am biased here. We'll see if we bounce at 550 now. There's the link in the chat. Help support the channel. Apex is 90% off sale. Also ends today, I believe.
Someone says Tesla. What's Tesla doing?
Tesla's flat. It's slightly green on the day, but it's really a flat range. Let's see if we bounce at 550s here.
I thought they said that they might have noticed something.
I'm going to buy this. It's a risky buy, but I'm going to do it anyway. One contract, though. Very small micro contract here. There we go. We're green. Let's see if this holds. I don't like it enough because if we start to fade back down, it looks much riskier to me. That's why we're starting really small. And again, my plan with these is just to slowly add to them as they go in my favor like this. I need a little bit higher move, though. I need over like 60. There we go. That's better. I will add to this now. We start to creep up in optimism. There we go. Take a little bit more off there. Cut it right there. Break even on the rest. Yeah, I'm not going to brag here, but dude, my Lucid profit graph on this account. One of the top 3 greatest profit graphs you've ever seen. Yeah.
I'm not going to brag, but check out this brag.
Yeah. Let's see what Levin's payout. Let's see.
It's not bragging if it's true.
Right. No, I'm just joking. I'm top 3 greatest ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 trading days to this payout. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losing days out of 17. So pretty good daily accuracy as well. 5 losing days out of 17. 12 out of 17 green days. Yeah.
You're an all-star, dude.
Yeah. Thank you. You know, I believe in myself. I'm gonna buy this dip to 550 if we get it. I only need about $100. Let's see if we can get it. Let me check breaking news, make sure nothing crazy is going on.
We want the ducks on it.
All right, there's 550 here. Yep. I'm gonna take half off. We're gonna start scalping. Look at that 550 bounce. Take another piece off, and then we're gonna add to this as we go into the green here. Using the volume profile, this is where the high volume area starts, and so sometimes we'll hold support like before it starts. We get it back below this, I'm cutting it flat. I'm gonna get out there. So again, another green trade, less than $100 now. We are holding above this level here, though. Maybe not. Looks like we want to. All right, I'm gonna add 3 contracts here. Maybe we get pop back higher here. There we go. Start to reduce size. Took a little too long to get up there. That's better. I like this now. Yep. Gonna hold 1 contract here left. Yeah, definitely not financial advice. I don't even know what that is, but we definitely do not give that here. Yep. I'm gonna add back to this now. Give it some time, hold it break even since I added to it. There we go. Take half off. Let the rest break even there. All right, so we're doing very well here, very well. We are gonna pivot to our. Let's see if we get another dip here. I'm optimistic the ceasefire holds. I really am. Tesla's starting to head up. Nvidia's trying. Yeah, it does look bullish. This is not how new traders should trade. Yeah, I'm not new. I'm going to buy this here, see if we can get the profit here real quick. Let's see. There we go. 2 contracts left. Take that off. 1 contract left here. We might just let this one ride, see what it does. Yeah, I mean, I'm scalping right now. I'm scalping art, volume profile and milestone levels is what I'm doing. Yep. Here we go. Yes, sir. All right, we're funded on this account. We're going to cut it now, or we're going to switch accounts now. So we're going to switch. So we are funded on this account. I mean, that was pretty simple. Oh, I got another account. Is it going to let me trade this one? It is. I'll just YOLO this account. I don't know how much this account needs to make. I'm just going to blindly go long here and be dumb.
What's the benefit of having multiple accounts?
Psychologically, there's benefits to it. Specifically that you can here, hold on. All right, we're gonna cut that, or at least some of that. If you're losing on one, instead of like, a lot of the time there's this habit that new traders have where if you're doing bad, you kind of keep adding size and kind of trying to win back your losses until it kind of spirals out of control and you destroy the whole account, right? It's very common for new traders to do this. Having multiple accounts gives you a fresh account to trade, if like, versus just continuing to just double down on one account like this. This is a challenge account, by the way, so we're just kind of playing around with this. I don't know how much room this one even has left. It might get me stopped out here. But there's benefits to it, specifically that it gives you a little bit more room to trade versus only being hyper focused on like one specific account, so to speak. Does that make sense? Like, it gives you a little bit more time and room to where it spirals out of control less. I like it more because of that.
Okay. Thanks for the explanation.
Yeah, no problem. It's like Mario Bros. Extra lives, that's right. Best analogy ever. Should I just kind of YOLO this account right now? I don't know. I think I'm down about 300 bucks on it, which is not as bad as it could be.
You can also copy trade, so some will have 5 accounts and have them all copy trade. They make $200 in one, and they make okay, cool. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, that's right. The momentum's on the upside, but I don't really trust it here, to be honest. So I'm gonna start cutting this, and it looks like that was the right decision. Yeah, we're out. Yeah, more payouts too. I've never seen anybody be excited about Amazon. I mean, I like Amazon.
So do I.
Yeah, so we're gonna trade our actual funded account now. So here's our actual funded account. We'll see how this one goes. We get a reasonable enough pullback to like 75, maybe I'll buy it here, but I need to be more strict with this. Germany's MERS says oil prices could rise further from February levels specifically. The Times, citing an Iranian security source, says if the attacks do not stop, there will be no negotiations.
I wonder what the odds are that we actually get a pullback on that.
Honestly, I think it's Israel. You know,
oh, it is. I mean,
the question is whether we can control that. You know,
I think they'll probably do what we ask, but who knows?
Yeah. Big if, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so again, we get down to 75, I'll buy it. Take one contract here. I kind of missed my entry though. I wanted 75. We ended up getting 80 something, so very small. It'll give us some time to maybe add to it. We do have a little bit of room here on the volume profile that we could dip down to 50. So we're going to start small and then add to it if it goes in my favor. Which is really the system that got me to the payout yesterday, is just kind of taking small size, only adding to it when I'm up enough to justify it. So when I lose, it's small. But when I win, it's much larger. It's kind of the goal. I'm not going to add any to this, though. I'm going to leave it. 75 is what I wanted. Problem is we have some room in the volume profile to continue the retracement here. I just want to see if the momentum picks up.
How long did it take you after you started trading before you started seeing winning days? Just roughly.
I mean, there's variance with trading, right? So you're going to see winning days sometimes, even if you suck, you know, or even if you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm going to go ahead and cut this. We're going to get out. But yeah, you're going to see winning days. Years, really. It's one of the reasons. Tesla just turned. CoreWeave just turned. I don't know what just happened to Tesla, but Tesla just turned. All right, so the NATO spokesperson says it's clear that the U.S. expects concrete commitments and actions to ensure freedom of navigation in the strait. One of the reasons we're dropping right now, though, is I think Tesla. It's still a heavily weighted stock. Look at Tesla dump here. I'm trying to see if there's any breaking news regarding this.
Thanks, Tam. I appreciate the fact that you go out of your way to give thoughtful answers.
Yeah. Well, so we just got some news that dropped 11 seconds ago. And the news was that Israeli defense minister says we will continue our attacks against Hezbollah and targeting it in the Litani area and other areas. I don't know if that's what's driving this market down, though, but the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, according to the Wall Street Journal as well. That just dropped. Let me see about Tesla, though. Tesla has to have some bad news.
When did that statement from Israel come out? Just now?
So this week, as analysts cuts and inventory concerns weigh, so Tesla shares are down as investors weigh a rough mix of bearish analyst commentary, weak delivery, and growing inventory concerns. Yeah, Tesla falling. Software stocks are kind of weak too. CoreWeave filled the gap after the offering. I'm seeing weakness in markets here. It's just so much of a news-driven market here. I want to buy this dip here, but we're also getting to a point where I don't trust it that much. And I think if we start to get deeper down here, there's a chance that we might continue sideways. So I'll just wait. What do you guys think here? Long or short? What are you guys thinking? Long or short? Let me know in chat. Look at the NASDAQ fall. Yeah, the more this happens, the more bears are going to look like they're in control. CoreWeave giving it back. Apple falling. Meta's doing okay. Microsoft's down, though. Apple, Microsoft down. Amazon's doing pretty good, though. Short.
Can you possibly account for the disparity as to why, like, Meta's doing well and the other ones are having a little trouble?
Well, yeah, it's mostly catalyst driven. Like, Meta had good news this morning. So CoreWeave announced an offering and a deal with Meta, and there's some other news that pushed markets higher. But CoreWeave recently filled the entire gap back down to the downside. Tesla's breaking down right now. Amazon's pushing higher, and it's all causing some of this slump to happen here. Looks like most people are short. Just the bias is short, and I don't think any of the news coming out right now is necessarily helpful for the bullish side. Again, Wall Street Journal saying the strait is still closed. I'm not buying this right there, although we are at the 200 exponential, so you could probably argue a buy. But I think this is a very sideways range here, to be honest. And maybe the market could be waiting for CPI tomorrow. But here's the orb. setup. That's the opening range breakout setup today. Big range right now, big range. So. All right, guys, we're down to 25.30s here, 25.30s. Here's the breakdown. We get under 25.20s. I might look for a short down to 25s. But we got to get down there first. We're still flushing down. We're under 25.20s. Let's see if we get a rebound back up. I'll short a bounce back to 25.30 here if we get it. I'll short here and maybe here. There we go.
Do you ever really watch like food production companies?
Hold on.
Okay.
We got a bounce I don't really like. Let's see if we reject immediately, which we kind of are. I'm gonna take half of this off, or at least some of this off right here at this area, guys. And then we'll leave the rest and then see if the rest breaks down a little bit more, but with smaller size. We did reject at the 200 exponential. I just want to see if we continue breaking down. There we go. That's better. There we go. Yes, sir. Okay, we'll start taking profit. Hovering into this drop. But holding the rest close to break even here. See if we can break down more. It is the bottom of the range. There we go. Took one off down there now. We are green on the day now. I'm going to let this breakdown continue. I'm looking for like 25,000 here. I think we're close enough to 25K where if we bounce, I might actually add to it. I just want to see if we hit 25,000. We're close enough to where sometimes these levels can act like a magnet. And we're enough in the green where I don't have to worry about it as much. It is a catalyst-driven market, though. Again, Bloomberg saying Hormuz traffic still blocked as Iran tries to formalize control. All right, so we are still flushing. I'm going to add a little bit to this now. Bad add. I don't necessarily like this entry now, but we'll still go with it. Yeah. I could see it immediately how I didn't like it. I'll give it time, though. I think if we reject it 25.30, I'll still hold. There we go. It's better.
Take trades. I've never traded. I intend to at some point, but for now I'm just trying to learn watching John.
There we go. I'm going to take piece off there. Hold one. See if we can get down to 25.50 or 25 is what I'm looking for. We're close enough to where momentum might push us there. Yep. But it's a very small trade at this point in time. We've already scaled out. There we go. I'm going to cut it right there. That's good enough. Yeah, I'm out now. I'm worried 25,000 is going to prop us up here, is what I'm worried about. Tesla also just cracked lows, just really quickly cracked lows. Michael Burry scaring the market. Yeah, so it looks like I got out exactly at the low here, to be honest. Yeah, I've got videos on my channel about futures. Yeah, I got out right at the low. Again, this is how you formulate a trade idea. Like I said, I don't look for the breaks of these targets here. Here's 25,000. I'm not looking for the break of that. I don't want the break of that. You know why? It's because we get down to that level, there's a good chance we're going to do this. And so I would much prefer to attack a range down to that area. You know, this was the range I think I attacked on that trade. Much more reliable trade versus trying to take like some big momentum break. You can't predict momentum that easily, to be honest. And you get squeezed out the opposite direction too much. And so I would rather just kind of piggyback off of the level here. Assume we're going to at least move down to test it. Cut it when we're close to it. And avoid getting rejected here and, you know, like that. I think that makes a lot more sense to me. And I think, like, in terms of accuracy, that's going to be a higher accuracy setup. I think the closer we get to these levels, the more likely it is we're going to move down and at the very least test them like we did here. But not necessarily break them to the downside. And so if I can piggyback off of the big downward move right here and then just kind of ride it down to that, close to that level, cover it. Even if we continue down right now, there's just too much risk that we're going to go like this and we're going to move in a big choppy range up until CPI tomorrow. And so because of that, I don't want a big breakout of momentum. I'd much rather just attack the range, so to speak, if that makes sense, guys. You guys bullish or bearish right here? What do you guys think? Yeah, a lot of people are talking about gold right now. Gold's up, but last 5 minutes it's been kind of rangy too.
So you like to make money over like trading volume as opposed to one big trade?
Yes. I scalp versus like a much, like my day trades are very short.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you could trade the port of control, Sam. You got to trade a range versus a momentum style, to be honest. The trend looks weak here, though, to be honest. Like, bears look like they're in control. So it might keep going, but... CPI will be very interesting because it includes the elevated oil premiums. So, yeah. CPI would be very, very, very interesting tomorrow. It's an absolutely important report tomorrow. Yeah, we are in that kind of heavier volume area here on the volume profile. Here's the heavy volume area. So what that means is like you could just go like this, you know. We start to break down under this range here. Maybe we'll get some interesting stuff in this area, like some trends down. But again, it's not really my style of trade. I'm not really trying to attack that momentum here. And the other issue is like sometimes if you attack momentum, say you enter short right here, even if it continues down, it's one thing if it continues down. Other times where it rejects, where it does like a liquidity grab, it goes boom, and you have a much larger loss than you want. So. I love liquidity grabbing. Yeah, you mean going long at those levels? Yeah, we're still kind of chopping in this range. It looks bearish, but it's also sideways enough to where there's risk. Here's a move down maybe to test. Here's 25,000 right here. There's 25K. So the only thing I'm worried about is that either 25K holding support here and continuing up. It's the same thing we did with 24,000 the other day, where I asked the chat if I should buy, and the chat was like, no. And then we did a huge bounce where I wanted to buy. That was a big whole dollar number as well. So that's why as we get closer to that, I'm more likely to take profit in this range before we really can go like that, so to speak. We're heading back up. Really low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just sideways chop. Sideways movement. Yeah, I don't know what to do here, in all honesty. We're getting to the top of that high volume area on the volume profile.
What do you think your average win-loss ratio is?
I don't know, we can look. If we're talking about intraday, I have to calculate what the total is here. Trade it might tell me actually here on Trade-Evate. Let me see, for the last month. So far this month, I am running at about 70.5%, almost 71%. So here is my volume. Here's my accuracy this month so far. Now this month might be a little bit easier to trade, but here's my accuracy rate so far for April, which is around 70.45% is what exactly the number is. And again, you guys can kind of see the trends here, but we've really been, yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Last month, it was 66% last month. It's a little bit lower last month, but still like respectable, I think. Like here, yeah, here's last month. Like here's March, right? It's 66%. And really, this is one of the only funded accounts. I think I might have traded one other one last month, but you know.
Yeah.
If you add them all together and we include up to today, which was April 9th, my accuracy rate is about 67%, it says, total. 67%.
I think that's pretty good.
No, that's good. I'll take it. You know, green is good.
Raymond says, how's the water bill, John? Carol still watering the world.
She's getting better. She's getting better.
At least she can actually grow stuff. Everything I try to grow dies.
Yeah. Yeah, I called her the plant murderer for a long time. I think she got tired of it and was like, you know what? I'm gonna let these plants live. It's time. I told her, like, stop growing veggies, just grow flowers. And she kind of pivoted to flowers. Now she's got some veggies out there, but less, you know.
Well, veggies, fruits and veggies, whatever, you know, because some things we think are vegetables are actually fruits. But they're very temperamental, man. You have to know like nutrient composition in your soil, acidity levels, you know, proper amount of sunlight every day, proper water. It's very complicated, more than people think.
Sure. No, 100%. Absolutely agree. Yeah, let me see if we I want to see if my payout credited. It did. It did credit. So good for my payout. It credited. Nasdaq started to look more bearish, though. You know, I might short a little bounce here. I don't know. We'll see. We need to bounce to 330 again, maybe. But there's that 330 bounce. That's too big. I'm gonna wait. It looks bearish, though, to be honest. Should have shorted it. I should have shorted it, guys. I don't know why I hesitated there. I thought about, remember I said 330. I'm looking at shorting 330, which again is right here. You know, because once we start to get underneath here, we could range back down to the same kind of strategy again. We'll see if it was the right decision. I don't know. There's something about it that I just didn't like, but should have taken it. Or maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe it was a good thing. My intuition or my instincts said no. I think it kind of looks like a head and shoulders with the bounce. Maybe it's why I like the short. But now look at this push up. So, you know, maybe me not taking it was right. In Colombia, you drop a banana peel on the ground. The next day, there's a tree there. Anything grows. Yeah. Let's see if we go for my short position now. I like it more now that we've had some confirmation, but I still think I might miss it. See if we get a little pop back higher. I can jump in a short. Wholesale inventories did come out at 10, but I missed it. Oh well. It's too late now. Yeah, and again, you can kind of see we break past this high volume area right here. That's when we start to move faster down. So here's 25,000 right here, though. So that's the level that we watch. There's the bounce right at 25,000. Again, big psychological levels, guys. This level's been drawn on our chart for a minute. And you can kind of see how markets respond to that level very cleanly, very cleanly.
Yeah, that comment about anything growing in Colombia, from what I can tell, it's due to Terra Preta, the terraforming that was done by the native peoples, you know, a couple hundred years ago. We still can't recreate it.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, we're still holding here, guys. I don't know about a short here. You know, we're getting to that point of the day where I'm not sure what to do. I should have shorted right where I wanted, but that's all right. Ooh. My arm's feeling better, dude. I got to a point where yesterday my daughter and I wanted to play ping pong, but I couldn't play with my right hand because it's hurt. And so I played with my left hand, dude. And apparently I'm ambidextrous to a certain point because I beat her with my left hand. She will never hear the end of that.
Did she have to buy you an enchilada?
I should make her. You know, Tesla's starting to rebound back up though. Core weave coming down.
Also, I'm glad you pronounced that correctly. You'd be surprised how many people say ambidextrous.
Yeah. I should have been a switch hitter in baseball, is what it showed me. You know.
I tried that. I didn't have much luck with that, but oddly enough, I can box in either stance.
Yeah, my left hook is stronger than my right hook for some reason, and I'm right-handed. You know. So we're up to 32s here. Here's the 200 EMA. I don't like any of this right now, guys. None of this looks good to me. I'm very slightly green on an account that I took a payout on yesterday. I think that's decent enough to celebrate the day. But Nothing really looks good to me here.
Flip a coin. I mean,
I just want to point it out there. We bounced precisely at 25,000 again. Learn from this moment, chat. You know,
isn't that what you predicted or what you
said I was worried about? Absolutely right. I also said that I was worried that we could test this level and then boom, rip up exactly like we're doing now. And so this is how you know. Again, people get greedy. They say, oh, 25,000. They're like, oh, we're really going to break down like this, you know. I prefer to attack a range. I think ranges make more sense. Without a paddle, I'm using my hand, Sam? That could never, ever happen, bro. That could never, ever happen. You know?
Yeah, pronunciation is different everywhere, but ambidextrous does not have an I in that part of the word. Not ambidextrous is my point.
Oil did pop back over 100 here, though, guys. So oil is over 100. NASDAQ is starting to come down. This looks catalyst driven, though. Let's see if it is. That's a big green and big red candles. Oil back over 100, though. Again, I'm probably just going to cut on out of here, guys. Again, if you haven't already, check out Lucid. I did take a payout on Lucid. They processed it in 1 minute. In 1 minute. They processed it. I actually took a picture of this. I will put it on my Discord right now. Just show you guys. They processed it in 1 minute. Show the
Some
chat
people
now.
say that's faster than 2 minutes.
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is. Make sure I don't have any. Yeah, look. I'll show you guys this. I just posted it on the Discord. Look at this. Let me show you guys. Like, look at this payout processing time. Look at this payout processing time. Payout requested 446. Payout approved 446. Payout sent 447. Immediately here. Immediately. Check out Lucid. Link is pinned at the top of the chat. You can also find it in the description. Also, guys, the Apex sale ends, I think it's tonight at midnight. The Apex sale ends. So, again, Apex recently redid all their cool stuff. They now have end-of-day drawdown options, no payout denials, no MAE rule, no 5-1 risk-reward rule, built-in scaling, 50% consistency. The cheapest accounts in the game are 1990 until midnight tonight. 1990. So, again,
Midnight
I like the...
Eastern Standard Time?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, and again, I like this one, the $35 one. It gives you the end-of-day trail, 50K account. 13 and a half hours basically is when this is, guys. So again, check out Apex. I'll put the link up in chat as well if you want to help support the channel. You can also find all of these links pinned at the top of the chat, or pinned to the description. So all of these links are in the description. Also, if you want like a really beginner friendly one, if you're new, Take Profit is really nice. Take Profit Trader, really solid. And yeah, you can find all the links. Again, Tradeify if you want direct to funded, Lucid or Tradeify 3.0. You can use coupon code BGT for the max discount on all of them. There's the Apex link. I just put it up in chat. Again, these are all affiliates of mine. I am biased. We did get a breakdown of 25,000 here, but it's too unpredictable right now. I'm probably just going to bow out for the day. So y'all have a great day.
Yeah, talk to everybody later.
Yeah, see you guys.
Y'all have a good day. Later, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all be good. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Shout out to DT. You know, chill out though, bro. Chill out, dude. You don't need it that many times, dude. Good day to you guys. Have a great day.